Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. I'm early. Not only I'm like 7 minutes early, so can we please? I was just have a round of applause, but I guess you're not all just going to sit there clapping in your houses. But we are starting now. Listen, I was ready. I thought there's no point me just sitting here for the sake of sitting here till 4:30. So let's do this. If you are one of the people that is here right now, you're a legend because it means that you are early as well. We don't like you being late either. And of course, I look down and the legend Shazam is here. Good to see you, my friend. Ashley here as well. Thank you for being here. We've got Discover with Sim, of course. As always, what a legend. Luke R has just become a Rap Tier 2 member. Look at this. Carlo. Oh, look, everyone's giving the round of applause. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm convinced the Premier League are announcing this for the crack. I know. What are they doing? They just keep waiting until the Fridays and then just drop in the bombshell on a Friday. Arne Slot injured. Arne Slot red card, but it doesn't matter because we'll have him anyway. What a weird game we play now. FPL gets weirder by the second. There's random double game weeks keep getting announced. We're playing chips on managers and it's all up in the air. Who knows what we're doing anymore? But welcome back to the stream as always. I appreciate you being here. We have probably got a pretty packed one and we have obviously big news. If you've not yet seen, double game week 32 has been announced. The reason we didn't predict that, I think it's a Champions League, is it the quarters or something like that? But it's a Champions League midweek, which is why we didn't expect there to be an announcement for a double in 32. What this means now is that Game Week 33 is basically confirmed. So we're going to have a double in 32, a double in 33, and then a blank in 34. So 32 to 34 is going to be pretty manic now. And it also means double Game Week 36 might not happen, which is the big news. Luke Ars is my favourite FPL content creator. Thank you for being a member then, man. I appreciate that. Paul here as well. Good to see you, Paul. Maximilian says, wildcard 30, triple captain 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. Maximilian, that is the ideal chip strategy. I'll give that a big thumbs up. If you've got the wildcard, triple captain, bench boost, free hit, I would wildcard 30 or 31, triple captain 32, bench boost 33, and then free hit 34. I think that sounds good to me. Anyway. Happy Valentine's Day. I forgot it was Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. What a romantic thing to do a live stream on a Valentine's Day. I don't think I've ever done it before. So, here's the team. I've also, listen, my deadline stream graphics aren't fantastic. I'll be real, but I've just added a little bit. I don't know if my computer will cope. Probably not, but I've just got a deadline counter because everyone's like, how long till the deadline? I've got the key news, and then I've just done some predictions for the games as well. So there we go. Hopefully something a little bit fun to add. Basically, I think my team's looking all right now. Trent was the only real major issue in my team in terms of the starting 11. If he was going to play, we still don't know if he'll start both, but that's looking a little bit better. And then Enzo on my bench obviously isn't great, but I've only got 0.2 million. And if I upgrade Enzo, I then have to probably bench Chris Wood, which I don't love. So yeah, that's the team as things stand. We'll see how the deadline stream goes and if we get any news. But yeah, I think for the most part, I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, it's not, honestly, it's not really advanced graphics or anything. I've just screen recorded from a website, a deadline counter, and then I've just added a few predictions, but just something a bit more interesting to look at, hopefully. Next season, I'll make sure I upgrade the computer, the camera. I really want to make some upgrades to the stream layout as well, but I kind of need a few weeks off to deal with all of that rather than in season trying to make the changes whilst I'm recording videos and stuff like that. So it'll probably be a next season thing. Why do you think Newcastle Crystal Palace has moved to Game Week 32 rather than Game Week 33? So the reason for that is that probably Newcastle and Palace will need another double, which will go into 33. Does that make sense? So what we thought would happen is that one of Newcastle and Palace's doubles would go in 33 and the other in 36, especially Newcastle likely to have two doubles. So instead, rather than being 33 and 36, what they've done is moved the Crystal Palace-Newcastle game to Game Week 32, which then frees up a slot for both Newcastle and Palace to have a potential double game week in 33. So what they're trying to do, and listen, if they do this in the future, I'm all for it. They're basically trying to front load the double game weeks. So they're trying to get the fixture rescheduling done early. They're trying to not leave all of the fixture rescheduling until the back end of the season. That's why they moved them forward to Game Week 25, right? That's why Liverpool and Aston Villa came forward. So they've also done the same with Crystal Palace and Newcastle. They've brought it forward to 32 rather than keeping it for a little bit later. Is Gakpo out? Is Gakpo injured? What to do with Gakpo? So the news that we have on Gakpo, Slot almost looked like he needed a reminder, which is really weird because if Gakpo's a doubt, and Slot's pretty honest, you'd think that would be one of the first things that would come up in the interview, but it was like, oh yeah, Gakpo's a doubt. And we were like, okay, so it sounded like it wasn't that big of a thing, but then there was like an open training session as they sometimes have at these teams, and he wasn't pictured in the part of training. And because Arne Slot isn't the sort of manager for me that would deliberately hide it, I think it's pretty safe to say that he wasn't in at least part of team training today. So my opinion on this, if I had to guess now, is that Gakpo probably doesn't play, or at least doesn't start the Wolves game, and then is maybe back for the Aston Villa game. That would be my prediction. So I think what you should view it as is a possible single game for Gakpo, but we don't really have a definitive update. So as to whether you sell Gakpo for someone like a Watkins is difficult because you're selling one doubt for another doubt. But as you can see by the key news part of the graphic, Watkins will be with the squad for the Ipswich game. So you'd imagine that if he's in the squad and that he's fit enough and he's been in training, well, then he's probably going to start. Although Donyell Marlin did a really good job as the 9, so it's not really clear cut. Will says, hey Ross, back from running a half marathon a couple of weeks ago. That's huge. I couldn't even run a quarter marathon right now. Is it worth taking a -8 to sell Wood and Mbeumo to a Bournemouth midfielder and Watkins? I don't mind selling Wood to Watkins, but selling Mbeumo to a Bournemouth mid as part of a -8, I'd say no for me, Will. But that's because I really rate Mbeumo. I think Mbeumo's just a really decent option. And as you can see by the predictions, I could see Brentford getting a couple of goals in this game. So, yeah, for me, I don't mind the selling of Wood to Watkins, but I don't like the selling of Mbeumo to fund that. Fraser says, what to do with Konsa? Who should I bring in? Yeah, so Konsa's out was the news. So if you've got Konsa, he's not going to play in the double. I think it's still Howson for me. I think I'd still go Howson as the best player to bring in. But I mean, you could go to Disasi. If Konsa's out, it's probably going to be Mings and Disasi as the centre-back pairing, so that's an option. Toby Wilson says, DCL and Bruno to Watkins and Kluivert. Okay, I quite like that. Or Enzo and Konsa to Rodgers and Wissa. Ooh. Wait, Rodgers and Wissa for Enzo and Konsa? That doesn't work. I'm trying to work out what you actually mean. And I don't know what that's supposed to be. There's a typo there, Toby, isn't there? But on the DCL and Bruno to Watkins and Kluivert, I actually really don't mind that. Bruno's playing a deeper role. Watkins and Kluivert look like great options. DCL's obviously out. I quite like the first option, but yeah, I don't know what the second one's meant to be. Emery says 0.1 in the bank. João Pedro and Ndiaye are major issues. Okay. Either Nwaneri and Watkins for a -4 or Ndiaye to Jimenez for free. I think Nwaneri and Watkins. Jimenez has decent fixtures and they don't blank. They're not bad. His minutes aren't perfect. Fulham aren't the best attack. I think I like the Nwaneri and Watkins move slightly more. I would go Nwaneri and Watkins. Yeah, I would go for that. Lewis Hardy says, by the way, I do really like Trossard and Nwaneri for this week. I think they could do very well. Would you sell Gakpo for a -4 or just bench him for Ahmad? If sell, then who for? I can't afford Watkins. The only option I really like, maybe Wissa. Wissa's not bad at all. I really like Cunha long term, but I think it's too early. It's Mateta. I think, and it might be biased because I love Jean-Philippe Mateta, but it would be for me Mateta that you'd want to go for. But then he blanks in 29. So unless you're committing to a free hit, or unless you've got lots of free transfers planned, then it's a transfer out once again. I would say either keep and bench or sell for Mateta or Wissa. And it's up to you, depending on your strategy and how much you like the look of those two options. Scott says, hi, I have Sells, Trent, House and Gabriel, Palmer, Semenyo, Kluivert, Salah, Wood, Isak. It's a great team. Okay, a good bench as well. Robinson and Wissa on the bench. Slot assistant manager, 0.5. Advice, please. My advice is enjoy your green arrow and roll the transfer. Yeah, there's no need to do anything with that team right now. You've got great squad depth. You've got 3 Bournemouth already. You've got your triple Liverpool. I mean, the only thing you don't have is you don't have an Aston Villa player, but are you that desperate to when your team looks like that? I think you just keep the team, Scott. Looks great. Shazam says, by the way, thank you so much, my man. You're far too kind. Evening, Ross. Gakpo a doubt and Ndiaye out. That's a nice little rhyme there. Isak is my only fit forward. Okay. 2 free transfers. Should I replace Gakpo for Mateta and allows me to keep Trent but only get Emery, or replace Trent with Kirkes and get Slot, or both? I think I'd keep Trent now. Yeah, I don't love taking Trent out. I think Gakpo to Mateta is fine. I really have no issue with that. The alternative you have is trying to get to Watkins. which I don't mind. But yeah, I think Gakpo to Mateta feels a little bit better for me, and just go for Emery. I think just about. But it is quite close, mate. It depends how much you want Slot, right? Because Slot probably will outscore Trent. But by how much? Will Emery get anything in the second game? And I also think Jean-Philippe Mateta for the next 4 games and beyond after game week 29 as well. I think Mateta's a really nice option. It's a difficult one, but I would probably go for the Mateta one. Sorry, and Mbermo in the mid, Scott says. What was that? Oh, in your team? Oh, okay, yeah. That's fair. Oh, yeah, because you only gave me 4 midfielders, didn't you? Oh, and added Mel. Yeah, it's just even better then, mate. Yeah, it's a very nice team. Zach says, Moyes to Slot, Gakpo to cheap forward, Alanga to Cliver, -8. I don't hate that. I don't like any of the cheap forwards particularly, unless you're telling me you can afford someone like a Whistle who's not that cheap. But if you're going down really cheap, I mean, you could still go for a Beto, I suppose, or someone like that. But then that's a -8 to sell Gakpo. I wonder if in your position, mate, is it better to just do Moyes to Emery and Alanga to Cliver if you can afford that? If the Gakpo downgrade gets you everything else, Zach, then I like it. Otherwise, I feel like it's slightly unnecessary. Bicky94 says, hi Ross, Gordon to Cliver at 29, okay. Saar to Dango, luxury, and Slot to Emery, luxury. No transfers until 29 to have 12 players with 4 free transfers. So you're saying you want to do those moves now? I have no issue with that at all. Slot to Emery doesn't feel necessary at all, though. You say that's luxury. Slot to Emery doesn't even feel luxury. I just would rather have Arne Slot. Unless you've got a really good feeling about Aston Villa. I think Cliver, Gordon and Saar to Cliver and Dango feels fantastic. Regardless of whatever strategy you're on, that feels good. I don't think Slot to Emery is that necessary. Who's the best front three on wildcard 25? I'm on free hit 29. If you're free hit 29, it's Isak Mateta. It's Isak Mateta and who would I go for as a third forward? Because Isak and Mateta have the double in 32, right? That's the confirmation. And they've got good fixtures after 30. Mateta's got good fixtures now. So I would have, do you know what? I'd probably have Watkins if you can afford it. That's a very expensive front line, but Isak, Watkins, Mateta, if you can't afford that, maybe you do still go for someone like Jimenez or Wissa as the third forward. I'll let you decide, but I would definitely have Mateta in there. Mateta is absolutely perfect if you're on free hit 29. Lucar with a super chat, but there was no message, but thank you very much, my friend. Aaron says, Gordon to Cliver, Gakpo to Watkins for a -4. Okay, Gordon to Cliver, Gakpo to Watkins. Yeah, really nice transfers. Or either play Gakpo and do Gordon to Cliver, or sell Gakpo for Wissa Mateta for free. No, I think do the -4, Aaron. It's a really nice -4 overall. I don't think you're going to massively hurt selling the pair of them, unless Gakpo suddenly plays both games. But even so, Watkins is a great option too. I will just say, if you're selling Gakpo to Watkins for a hit, there is a world in which Gakpo does start both and Watkins only starts one. Whenever you're buying and selling players that are both doubts, it's always a risk. You're literally trading one doubt for another doubt. So I do like it. I would rather have Watkins than Gakpo personally, especially as Watkins has taken penalties recently as well. I don't know. I would do it, but just acknowledge the risk associated with it. Wazza says, defence, Trent, Gabriel, Munoz. Current midfield is Semenyo, Rogers, Palmer, Salah, Gordon. Isak, Wood up front. 3 free transfers. What are your thoughts? My initial thoughts looking at that team is, can you downgrade Gordon to someone like Dango? And does that give you any money to upgrade your attack a little bit? So something like Gordon to Dango. Does that allow you to get Wood to Watkins, or to get whoever your third forward is? Because I don't know who your third forward is, but upgrade your third forward to someone a little bit better. That would be my initial thought. Like, Gordon's the dispensable player there in your team, mate. So that would be what I would do. Shazam says, forgot to say Happy Valentine's Day to you and Pickle. Hope you're going to spoil her, mate. I absolutely will, my friend, but thank you very much. Yeah, I'm taking Pickle out for dinner. So basically, because I'm streaming and Pickle lives in Birmingham, she's just finished placement because she's... By the way, FPL Pickle's my girlfriend. If you're new to my videos and live streams, please make sure to subscribe. But she's my girlfriend. She is a massive FPL fan, but she's working at hospital for placement as part of her studies. So she's just finished. She's now got to rush home, get on a train from Birmingham to Nottingham, and she won't get here till like 8:30. I'm going to be knackered from streaming. I've been teaching all day at university as well. So I've been lecturing and streaming all day. She's been at hospital all day. So by the time she gets here, and I have to go walk to the station to pick her up, it's going to be late and we're going to be tired. So we're not going out for dinner tonight, but we will be going out for dinner tomorrow night. And it will be nice to have a lie-in on a Saturday morning as well, because I don't normally get one of those. JM says, hello, bud. Remove Gakpo to Cunha/Wisser. Yeah, I prefer Cunha. Cunha's got corners. Cunha's got penalties. And he's more talismanic. So I prefer Cunha to Wisser. But over the next 4 fixtures, Wisser's fixtures are just better than Cunha's. So I think I would go Wisser now and Cunha a little bit later. I think it's 3 weeks too early for Cunha, personally. But if you're just like, I really don't want to keep using transfers, Cunha could definitely return in the next 3 weeks, by the way. He could return against Liverpool, and at least you've got him in place. So it depends how long-term you want to think, but I would go Wisser. Either way, I'll be left with 1.5 million. Should I bring Slot in or risk Emery? If you've got a free Liverpool position in your team, and you've got 1.5 million, I probably would play it on Arne Slot. The only thing is, with the double game week 32 announcement, we know that we're going to have a double game week in 32 and a double game week in 33. So there is another double-double. So unless you've got your triple captain that you still want to play, or you want to definitely use the bench boost in 33. And by the way, bench boost 33 will be the best week to use it. I quite like assistant manager in 31, 32, 33. So you could keep the assistant manager chip now. That is definitely an opportunity to play the AM chip in the double-double. Blicky9 has been a member for 12 months, by the way. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you so much. Says, slot to Emery. Avoid a manager transfer next week to build free transfers and want Emery next week. Also keeping Gakpo and Watkins and no Mbeumo and Rodgers. Is that crazy? Nothing in FPL is crazy, mate. No, I don't mind that at all. If you want to do slot to Emery and you feel like you're going to keep Emery next week anyway, I don't know that you necessarily should or would want to, but let's say you will, then yeah, maybe. Also keeping Gakpo and Watkins and no Mbeumo and Rodgers. It sounds fine, mate. Just because it's a little bit different to other people's strategies, it's not an issue. Like, if you've got a feeling about something, follow it through. Ndiaye to Mateta and Gordon to Kluivert. That sounds brilliant. And Hall to Kirkers. That sounds even better. For a -4. What are your thoughts? Removes 2 blank game week players as well. It does, but you're gaining 1 in Mateta. So you're losing 2 in Gordon and Hall, but you're gaining a blank in Mateta. So overall, you're having 1 less blanker in game week 29. But, mate, for a -4, that's about as good as a set of 3 transfers can be, I would say. Good chance of table bonus for Emery next week. There is the possibility, absolutely. If Emery does have the table bonus next week, then you almost certainly keep him if you have him. So maybe you want to take that risk. I can't remember what results need to happen. Let me have a look at the Premier League and try and work this out. Because it's not a confirmed table bonus, but as you say, it's a possibility. So Villa are currently 8th. Chelsea are 4th. So I think, let me work this out. Yeah, if Villa... So Villa, let's say Villa beat Ipswich. They go on to 40 points. Let's say they lose to Liverpool. Chelsea 4. I don't think they will get a table bonus. Would they have to... Yeah, they'd have to lose. They could, actually. They could. But I think they'd have to not get many points this week, right? They need to lose points versus Liverpool. And Fulham need to win, I think, looking at the table. I haven't worked out all of it. But, yeah, there is a chance that if you go for Emery now, you'll get the table bonus next week. Are you doing any more transfers, Baldy? I've not done any. I've got 2 free transfers. I've not made any. I'm not planning on it at the moment. I do need to work out my bench. It's a very minor thing, but I need to work out who to put first bench, Enzo or Robinson. I just think because I've got Chris Wood, I might just have Enzo first sub. I probably won't need them, but you never know. Luke R with the super chat. Thank you very much, Luke. We got there in the end with your message, mate. Who would you bench out of Isak, Wood, Mateta, Mbeumo, Palmer, Rodgers, Kluivert, and Salah? I feel like that's quite easy. Actually, that's not easy, but I feel fairly confident in saying if I had that dilemma, I would bench Chris Wood. Because I thought about this myself, right? If I sell Enzo for a Bournemouth midfielder, who would I bench? I'd bench Chris Wood. Fulham haven't kept many clean sheets at Craven Cottage this year, so I know that. But I think Fulham are one of the better defences in the league. I think that Forest are, in general, a fine attack. They just won 7-0 against Brighton, but they're not a free-flowing attack that scored tons of goals in every game. And I just feel like Chris Wood in this sort of game could get a 9-pointer, but I don't think his ceiling's that much higher than that. Maybe famous last words. I mean, I hope that he gets a lot. But for me, I think Chris Wood gets somewhere between 2 and 9 in this game. Whereas I think Rodgers, Kluivert, Mateta, and Mbeumo, they've got a slightly higher ceiling for me. So I think I would bench Chris Wood in that position, Luke. Start Mbeumo or Wood, says Dara. I'd start Mbeumo and bench Wood. I think with Mbeumo, Brentford are a slightly better attack overall if you look at the data. And Mbeumo's on corners and free kicks as well as penalties. And he's a midfielder, so he gets extra point for a goal, extra point for a clean sheet. So overall, I just think I prefer Mbeumo to Woods slightly. FPL Mikel says, Raya Pickford, okay, give me your team. You've got 3 free transfers, 2.5 mil in the bank. It's a great team to have that much money in the bank. I suppose your midfield's a little bit weak. Any suggestions? I think the big suggestion for me would be Enzo to a Bournemouth midfielder. Your other option you've got is could you get Chris Wood or João Pedro up to Watkins somehow? I'm just trying to work out what the most straightforward route for you to do that would be. It doesn't necessarily feel like there is one. The other thing you could do is like Sarr to Trossard or Enzo to Trossard. Basically, I think I would sell Enzo or Sarr and sell... Maybe not Sarr this week. I think I would sell Enzo Fernandez there for someone like Trossard or Kluivert. I think that's what I would do with your team. And then the rest of it's fine. Like, you could bench João Pedro. If you feel like you can't bench João Pedro, then you could also sell João Pedro as well. But there aren't that many good options at that cheaper price. Is benching Gakpo a bad idea if you don't sell him? I don't think so. But, I mean, if he starts both, it's horrific. But I would go on the basis of what we know right now, that he's probably not going to start both games. Because let's say he miraculously recovers and they do manage to start him against Wolves. Is he then going to definitely start against Aston Villa? And does he get even close to 90? Even if he starts both games, I reckon he gets early subs. So I don't think you're getting more than 100 minutes from Gakpo in this double anyway. So if you've got someone else like Wood or Mbeumo that plays 90, they're probably not going to get that fewer minutes anyway. So I don't hate the idea of benching Gakpo. Would I do it? I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm not in that position, so it's difficult to say what I would do. Do I play Murphy or Ahmad or bench Gakpo? In that case, I'd probably bench Murphy. I just think that Ahmad's a slightly better asset, and Gakpo will probably get minutes, you'd imagine. And if he does, I probably then prefer him to Murphy slightly. So I would probably bench Murphy there, Callum. Hi, Ross. What are your thoughts on Gordon to Trossard and Dubravka to Raya? I prefer Dubravka to Kepa, if you're not tripled up on Bournemouth already, but I like the Gordon move. And listen, if you want to go out there and attack Arsenal right now, with the couple of fixtures they've got coming up, I don't hate it. Start Castagna or Mikalenko? Ooh, I've not really considered that one. I would probably start Castagna. Yeah, I mean, if you look at my predictions in the bottom left of the screen, I don't think I've had too many people roast me for them yet. I've got a Fulham as conceding 0, and again, this isn't the way FPL pans out, but then I've got Everton conceding 2, so yeah, I guess I back that slightly more. You might say, why are you starting Munoz if you think Robinson's going to keep a clean sheet? And why are you starting Chris Wood? I've not really thought about it that deeply. I just looked at those games and thought that's the way I'd go. But I also think Munoz is more attacking than Robinson, despite the sheer amount of assists that Robinson's had this season. Ham says, hi, Ross. We'll try to convince my non-league mates to drive up to Notts for you. I appreciate that, mate. If you're one of the people that's emailed already, thank you. If not, make sure to chuck me an email. Thoughts on a -8 for Moyes, Sarr, Gakpo to slot Kluivert, Wisser. Moyes, Sarr, Gakpo, slot Kluivert, Wisser. Yeah, I quite like that. I mean, Sarr this week isn't a bad option. And then in 28, they've got Ipswich. In 30, they've got Southampton. So I actually quite like the fixtures, but Sarr's been really disappointing. And I don't know how secure his minutes are at the moment either. So I think overall, that's a nice set of transfers. Do I feel like it definitely pays off? Not necessarily. Like, I think Moyes to Emery could work for you as well, mate. But yeah, overall, I do like it. Missed out on Salah triple captain last game week. Is it best to go this game week? Yeah, if you've still not activated the triple captain, I'd go this week. I'd absolutely go this week. Do you recommend playing the assistant manager chip now? I would say I would probably keep it now. If you've activated it, by the way, it's still a great week to play it. But I think I would keep it and then maybe play it in 31, 32, 33. Or you could even play it in 30, 31, 32 if you'd rather bench boost in 33. But I think I would look to play it now around double game week 32. The issue is, like I said, if you want to play in 32 and 33, bench boost 33 is going to be really popular. And so you can't also play the assistant manager and bench boost. But I would probably hold the assistant manager now. But I do think it's close. Have you mentioned double game week 32? Not really, but yeah, we've had a double game week confirmed for Newcastle and Crystal Palace in game week 32. For Newcastle, I'm doing this off the top of my head, is United at home and Crystal Palace at home. And then for Palace, it's City away and Newcastle away. So the double is definitely better for Newcastle than Palace. It's actually a pretty rubbish double for Palace, both away as well. Although, I think I said in my video yesterday that Palace are really good at Selhurst Park, and then I looked at their home data, and they're actually better away. So you never know. Sell Gakpo to Wood or Mateta? Yeah, I'd go Mateta, Cal. I prefer Mateta to Wood. Although, again, in Game Week 29, Mateta blanks, Chris Wood's got Ipswich. So if you want a better player for 29, it's definitely Chris Wood. Luke R says, free hit 15 and wildcard 20 already used. Okay, so you've got no free hit wildcard. Assistant manager active on slot. I have triple captain and bench boost remaining. We'll have 5 frees in 29 with 7 already playing. How would you navigate Game Week 30 onwards? What I would probably do in your position, Luke, and I would need to look at your team in so much more detail to give you very good advice, but I would maybe sabotage/sacrifice Game Week 30 slightly to make sure your team's well set up for 30 and beyond. It's for Game Week 29, I should say, for blank 29. So what I'm essentially saying is maybe you only filled 9 or 10 players in blank Game Week 29 and keep players that look good from 30 and beyond. Because if you just really go all in and sell all of your players blanking and try and field a good team in 29, as you say, it's going to be difficult to then navigate from 30 onwards. I don't think it's ever awful fielding 9 or 10 players in a blank game week. Because in any single week, there's always 1 or 2 players that let you down. Really, most of your points often only come from 5 or 6 players. So if you nail those 5 or 6 players, it doesn't matter if you've got 9, 10 or 11, right? It's only a couple of extra appearance points. So I think as long as the 7, 8 or 9 that you have are really good in a blank game week, I don't always feel like you have to strive to get 11. It often is best, obviously. You want to have 11 players on the pitch, but you understand what I mean, hopefully. Who are the best 3 strikers this week, in your opinion? Just this week, well, it's Watkins, probably Watkins, Mateta, and Isak. Longer term, I also think it is probably Watkins, Isak, and Mateta, but remember that all 3 of those, I should say, blank in 29. Right? If you went in with Isak, Mateta, and Watkins, you'd have no forwards for 29. So it depends if you want a free hit or not. This is where it gets really difficult to give general strategy-based advice because I don't know what your individual plan is and what your individual team looks like as well. -8, Moyes, Gordon, Enzo to Emery and to Bournemouth. Yeah, that looks brilliant, mate. I'd go for that, those twins. Richard O'Dwyer says Gakpo to Worcester and Moyes to slot for a -4. It's quite good. It's quite good. Yeah, Gakpo might offer you the route to go and get slot if that's what you want to do. More than 1 or 2 players, and some players definitely not João Pedro do it every week. Oh, João Pedro. João Pedro really has been stingy. This is going to be the week that he starts and scores like 6 after people have sold and benched him. Feeling pretty jealous for those who could start Munoz this week. Can't really bench Kirkes or Wissa, can I? No, if your back line is Gabriel, Kirkes, Trent, Munoz, you probably have to bench Munoz, which is awful because he's a great option. What is the status with Gordon? Does anyone know? Yeah, Eddie Howe was really positive, but Eddie Howe is a liar. So I don't know if that's anything to go off. But yeah, Eddie Howe said that he should be available. I did Gordon to Cliver already. Okay, McKieran, I like that. I like that. 1 free transfer left. I'm thinking Sarr to Trossard/Wanyeri and bench Wood or Mbermo, or bench Gakpo if he's a doubt. I don't mind that, but I also feel like you could just then bench Sarr and have Wood or Mbermo starting. Like, these feel like very luxury transfers, Kieran, in a period where you're going to want lots. So unless, like, you're already perfectly set up for Game Week 29, I would at least think about whether you need to make these luxury moves. But if you are in that position, then I would, do Sarr to Trossard, I would prefer, and I would bench... Would I bench Chris Wood or Gakpo? That's an interesting one, chat. Chris Wood or Gakpo to bench. Not many people have Chris Wood and Gakpo. I think I would start... That's really tough, isn't it? Let's go on the assumption Gakpo doesn't play the first game, maybe doesn't get many minutes or any minutes. I'd probably start Chris Wood and bench Gakpo. Because conceivably, Gakpo could get no minutes against Wolves, be on the bench against Villa and then get a cameo. That's like worst case scenario, but it's possible. Hi, Raptor. I did a super chat. I already read out the answer to your super chat, my friend. -8, Moyes, Gordon, Enzo, Emery to Bournemouth. I said I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Bench Gakpo, Wood or Gordon. I mean, Gordon, if he's fit, he starts or he's not there at all. So maybe Gakpo. Maybe Gakpo there. Pavel says, what's exactly happened to Watkins? I didn't follow. Will he start versus Ipswich, you think? He had a groin injury, I believe it was. But apparently he's going to be in the squad and he's been seen in training. So I think Watkins will start both. But with Donyell Marlon doing such a good job, and he really did look good, and Villa in general looked very good with Marlon on the pitch, I wouldn't be hugely surprised if Marlon does start the Ipswich game, Watkins gets minutes off the bench and then starts the Liverpool one. But we know, or at least Emery has said, that both Mings and Watkins will be in the squad for Ipswich. And when Watkins is fit, especially when Duran's not been there, he usually does start. I have 10 out for Gameweek 29. Do I free hit or take hits now? You've got 10 players blanking. It's definitely a free hit. I've got 6 players blanking in 29, and I'm increasingly thinking more and more that I might free hit in 29. Like, I was sat there before the stream was starting, and I was starting to think, should I maybe free hit in 29? And I've got 6 players blanking. So, yeah, if you've got 10, it's a definite free hit. Andy Something says, I unfortunately brought in Luca Dean earlier in the season, and I'm now facing down the barrel of the gun in starting him. I think you absolutely start him. He's predicted 70% chance to start versus Ipswich. Do I just start Howson over him? Nah, if you've got Luca Dean, you have to start him. There's a good chance he starts both. The issue is if he doesn't start the Ipswich game because Maatsen starts that. But I think you take the risk. You can't not start a double game defender with attacking threat like he does. Chicharito. What a name. I miss Chicharito. One of them players that you just love having in your team. I miss those days. Like Tevez, Berbatov, Chicharito, the boys. Hey Ross, I'm struggling to get a manager for next week. Would you be tempted to buy Pep against Liverpool if they drop to 6th or below this week? It's honestly quite tempting, but probably not, no. I've not really looked a massive amount into it because we don't know which teams will have the table bonus. But I will only chase the table bonus if I think there's a genuine possibility of a win. I'm not going to chase the table bonus for the sake of it. So let's assess. But yeah, it's one of those games where like you could see City doing something against Liverpool. I want to see how they get on maybe this week. If they get turned over by Newcastle with relative ease, then I'm probably not going to do it. Charlie Mus says, Marlon or Rashford for my draft? Love the vids, Ross. Thank you very much, Charlie. I appreciate that. Marlon or Rashford? I feel like I'm going to get this horribly, horribly wrong. If Watkins is really fit, if he genuinely is, then it probably hurts Marlon's minutes more than Rashford. I would predict that both Marlon and Rashford only start one in the double. My head tells me Marlon, my heart tells me Rashford. I would say Marlon because that's what my head tells me, but my heart tells me that Rashi off the left, point to prove, late on in games. I could see Rashford getting something. I probably wouldn't have either of them personally. AM says, sell Wood for Watkins, Gordon for Kluivert, -4. I don't love it being a hit, but I also do prefer Watkins and Kluivert quite a bit more than Wood and Gordon. So yeah, maybe. Scuba Steve says, ahoy Ross. Ahoy Scuba Steve. I have Rodgers and Wisser starting. Very nice. Kluivert on the bench. Nope, that's not nice. Kluivert for Wisser, thoughts? Yeah, you absolutely start Kluivert. I would definitely start Kluivert ahead of Wisser. Not that I think Wisser's bad, by the way. I think Wisser will do pretty well this week. I think they'll have chances, but you've got to start Kluivert. A penalty taker against Southampton has to be in your team this week. Who would you assistant manager in 26-27 if you activated this week? I don't know, mate. Sorry to just not answer your question, really, but I need to assess it week by week who's at the table bonus at that point. I had eyed up for 26 the possibility of Arteta against West Ham, but West Ham have looked okay, and Arsenal are absolutely ravaged with injuries now, so that looks a little bit less appealing. I will assess it ahead of next week. There'll be lots of content around assistant manager for 26, because we need to know who we want to potentially transfer out. Who would you bench, Gakpo or Wisser? I think I'd bench Gakpo there, Rory. I would. Yeah, Gakpo. Because I'm going to go off the basis I don't think he starts Wolves. But if he does, then that's probably a horrid decision, isn't it? Because you're benching a Liverpool attacker with a double. But it comes down to your own expectation of minutes, I suppose. Mohar says, got 3 Liverpool, okay, and Moyes. Needs to take a hit to get any other manager. What is your thought on Gakpo to Wisser and Moyes to slot? Love it, mate. I'd get that done. If you're going to have to take a hit to get Emery anyway, you might as well take a hit, get rid of Gakpo who's an injury doubt, and go and get Arne Slot. I think that's the best thing to do. Luke with the super chat. Thank you so much as always, my friend. Hey, Ross. Hope you're well, mate. I'm actually doing very well. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone as well. If I could ask you for a Valentine's Day like, I'm not going to ask for anything else, but if you could like the stream. Also, whilst you're liking it, because the buttons are quite close to each other, could you also consider subscribing? I would really appreciate that. Anyway, Luke says, 4 free transfers. Great position to be in. Moyes to Slot, Gakpo to Cunha, Enzo to Dango, and Colwell to Vandenberg. Purely for funds, this transfer. Okay, that's a shame that you can't get It's a shame you can't get like Dazassi rather than Vandenberg, but I understand it. Overall, love that. Considering they're all for free as well, is there anything I don't like about that? It feels a little bit early on Cunha, so I would maybe prefer Wissa right now, but Cunha's a great long-term shout. That's maybe the only thing I don't like, is Vandenberg's a bit meh, and Cunha's a little bit longer term. But getting Dango in, getting Slot in, I'm a fan overall, mate. Have a great weekend, and well done for the rank as well. 89k is great. Slightly ahead of me. Hopefully not for long. Samuel says, Gakpo to Watkins, Mbeumo to Nkunku, Javi, Zaka, Mateta. I don't love Mbeumo to Nkunku. I like Gakpo to Watkins, but selling Mbeumo to fund it's not for me. If you are happy selling Mbeumo, then go for it. I would still probably, by the way, prefer Dango Watara to Nkunku, though. Shawza says, Clivert's wife posted on TikTok she's about to give birth. I honestly don't think this affects Clivert. Maybe famous last words, but I think Clivert plays regardless. We've seen so many times in the past, players' wives, girlfriends give birth, and they just play anyway. It's their job. I think they just do it. And the thing is, he'll go and play and they'll be straight back. But maybe there is some doubt around Clivert as a result. I don't think so, but you never know, I suppose. An hour and a half until the deadline. Isn't this great? We've actually got a deadline counter and it's working. It's doing the job. But yeah, an hour and a half until the deadline. Plenty of time to get all your questions in. Anna K. Joshi says, Hi Ross. Hello. I have 3 free transfers and Emery/Rogers, but no goalkeeper. What goalkeeper and other Villa players should I get? So you have 3 free transfers and Emery Rogers, but no goalkeeper. Keep 29 in mind. Gakpo to Watkins is fine. I like Gakpo to Watkins. I would probably say if you need a goalkeeper, it's absolutely Kepa for me. If you can't get Kepa, because you've already got 3 Bournemouth or you want other Bournemouth players, long-term, Jose Sarr might not be an awful shout. But then it gives you no goalkeeper in 29. I think Henderson now is the standout. But then again, if you're not free in 29, you've then got to use a transfer on another goalkeeper or sell Henderson anyway. So I think it comes back to Kepa for me is the standout goalkeeper. JM says, hey, bud. Hello, Jay. Sorry. Sometimes I just read it out and forget to say hello back. Gakpo and Mbeumo out. Again, I don't like selling Mbeumo. I just don't. Semenyo and Watkins in. I love Semenyo and Watkins, and I love the idea of getting Gakpo to Watkins. But selling Mbeumo for a hit just spells disaster for me. What's your other option? Gakpo to Cunha/Wissa and slot in, or do nothing? I think I probably slightly prefer Gakpo to Cunha/Wissa. I don't think you should do nothing. I think you're fine getting Gakpo to another forward, but I don't like selling Mbeumo, Jay, sadly. But if you're happy to sell him, then yeah, the first 2 transfers are nice. Start Rogers, Clivert, or Mbeumo. How many can you start there? Surely you could start at least 2 of them. If you're going to bench one of those, I would bench Mbeumo. I would start Rogers and Clivert, but surely there's a way that you can start all 3. But if you're only starting one of them, I need to see the rest of your team. But yeah, I would start Rogers, Clivert, and Mbeumo, probably in the order that you've listed them. Here for FPL has been a member for 10 months. Thank you very much. Gakpo to Cunha, bench Cunha to start Wood and assistant manager slot. Yeah, I don't mind that. If you can get away with benching Cunha this week to get you slot in as well, it's not the end of the world. Quite like that. Quite like that as a plan. Do we have to take hits for Gakpo to Watkins now? You don't have to, but it definitely sweetens the deal a little bit, knowing that Gakpo is a doubt. People were considering that anyway. Not probably for a hit, but getting Gakpo to Watkins and then bringing in the slot. So Ross Fraser says, top name, man. Top name to you as well, Ross. Okay, you give me your team. It's a nice looking team. Got a few cheeky little differentials in there as well. You got a slot assistant manager. Your plan is assistant manager 24, wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. That's still my current chip strategy. You've got 9 players in Game Week 29, including João Pedro. Bruno is sellable. What are your thoughts for Game Week 29? I mean, I would need a lot longer than like 10 seconds to plan with your team to work out what you should be doing with it. But overall, it looks like a good plan. I think you're fine in terms of having 9 for 29 with some free transfers to play within the lead-up is absolutely okay too. Iraola in 26 is absolutely a possibility. Something to consider. Yeah, I don't know what else really to say with your team. I think it's... Bruno is sellable, but he's also got a great fixture in 29. I think if I had Bruno, it's tough because he's a great way to free up funds. But I also think given the fixture in 27 against Ipswich and 29 against Leicester... I know myself I would find it very difficult to sell him. But he's playing a much deeper role now, and also they're just not a very good team, Man United, are they? But yeah, it's a nice teammate. I like the strategy overall, and I think you just keep rolling wherever you can, and then you deal with the lead up to 29 a little bit closer to 29. Everyone, regardless of your strategy, would be good rolling a transfer every now and again. It would just set you up to be a little bit more flexible moving forward. Miss Sumu says, who to start if I do Gakpo to Wissa? Have to start 2 out of Wissa, Wood, and Isak. Ooh, I would probably say, I'd say Isak and Wood and just bench Wissa slightly. I think Wood is only marginally better than Wissa, and it really comes down to penalties. Because Wissa gets more chances and Brentford are a better attack, but Wood's on pens. And I always come back to that. So I would probably say bench Wissa there, but I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Here for FPL says, Ross, bench Wood or Wissa? Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Again, I would just lean Wissa, but that's only because I love pens. If Wood wasn't on penalties, I'd probably bench Chris Wood and start Wissa. So it comes down to how likely a penalty is, which, by the way, isn't overly likely. But I would just kick myself if Chris Wood got a 9-pointer from 1 pen, you know? Start Beto, Ahmad, or Alanga. Probably Ahmad from those 3 options. Julian says, Ahmad, Palmer, Salah, Cliver, Enzo. Swap Ahmad for Rodgers. I don't mind that. I probably prefer swapping Enzo for Rodgers if you can afford it, but maybe not. In parallel, swapping Moyes to slot, but means I need to get rid of Gakpo or Trent. So you're doing Ahmad to Rodgers, Moyes to slot, and then sell one of Gakpo or Trent. I don't mind that, and then just sell Gakpo for Wissa or Cunha or something like that. Or Mateta if you can afford it. Yeah, I don't mind that set of transfers at all, Julian. Looks pretty good to me. Take a look at Liverpool's fixtures till the end of the season. When is the best time to back against Salah except Arsenal at home? Game week 32, game week 33, game week 30, game week 29, you're not going to captain Salah. Game week 32 is going to be a double game week. You're not going to captain Salah. And even in 33, I know you'll look at that and say Salah's got Leicester. Loads of teams will be doubling. You're not going to captain Salah here, here, or here. I would also argue, yeah, 36 you probably don't either. But maybe even in 30, if you've got Haaland, I think he's got Leicester that week. I'm not convinced you captain Salah in every one of these. There are times to back against him, absolutely. Just my opinion. Maybe you won't want to back against him. What about just keeping and starting Gakpo? Also fine. If he gets minutes against Wolves off the bench, let's say Gakpo gets 20 minutes off the bench and then starts a Villa, then he's a fine keep. I can't tell you, obviously, though, because it's just me randomly guessing if Gakpo is going to be fit or not. I just think the fact that he's a doubt, the fact that he wasn't seen in training. Semenyo or Cliver need one to replace Gordon. I think Dango, Semenyo and Cliver are all equally good options. But if you're going to make me choose between Semenyo and Cliver, I'd back the penalty taker and I'd back also the player on set pieces. Cliver takes set pieces and he takes penalties. Jace says, I've got a dilemma. Okay, Jace, 1 free transfer. I have Sanchez and Fabian, so I need a goalkeeper. Okay, oh, it's Fabianski. I was thinking, who's Fabian? Sanchez and Fabianski, so I need a goalkeeper. Have Moyes and I want Unai Emery. Can't do Unai Emery and Sanchez to Emi, and even that would be a -4. Worth selling Isak to Watkins and -8 to fund the whole thing. I'm not that much of a fan of Emi Martinez anyway, mate. I would go for... If you need a keeper in 29, I'd go for Kepa. If you don't need a keeper in 29, I would go for Henderson. They would be my top 2 goalkeepers to buy right now, Kepa and Henderson. And because they're quite cheap as well. They're cheaper than the likes of an Emi Martinez, aren't they? Rajveer says, on a -4, should I Gakpo and Bruno to Dango and Watkins for a -12? Gakpo and Bruno to Dango and Watkins for a -12. The thing is, it's just an extra couple of hits, but just as soon as you see -12, it's just like, no. But Dango and Watkins are just better than Gakpo and Bruno. I'd be tempted, you know. I would. A big hit every now and again isn't a disaster. If you do it every week, it becomes a real issue. But every now and again to sort out your team and to be happy with your team, don't mind it. Again, guys, if you are enjoying this stream, can I please ask you to drop a like and also subscribe as well? I really want to hit 150,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Not the year, by the end of the season. It's very optimistic. But if there are even like 200 or 300 of you that haven't subscribed, it goes a long way. So please consider doing it. Aladdin says, Gordon for Rodgers or for a Bournemouth mid? I think I prefer a Bournemouth mid to Rodgers. I've been saying that all week, and I think I maintain it. I would buy a Bournemouth midfielder ahead of Rodgers. Even if you don't have any Villa players, I think I just prefer them. I really do. So yeah, that would be what I would do. Moyes, Diaz, Flecken to slot Clivert, Kepper. Beautiful, Ariel. Really like it. Nice set of moves. Move with Mike says Mars behind in my mini league. Okay. 2 free transfers. Thinking Bruno, Murphy, Pedro Moyes to Clivert, Dango, Watkins, and then Hertzler. Brighton fan. Listen, if you're a Brighton fan and you want to back your team and manager, absolutely go for it. I mean, it will either end in disaster or you will have had an absolutely cracking start to the game week because it's obviously getting played tonight. So you'll know straight away. Yeah, do you know what, mate? -8. No. Is it -8? Yeah, -8. But I don't hate it at all. Really back your bloody gut feeling. Miles behind, 4 really exciting transfers, getting double Bournemouth against Southampton, backing your team as well. I'm all aboard that one, mate. Discover with Sim says Clivert, Dango, or Wisser. Bench 1. I'd have to start my Bournemouth midfielders, mate. I'd have to against Southampton. So it would have to be Wisser there. Lots of love, mate. My date tonight is Sofa. Got a date with the sofa. I respect it. You might be hiding behind it if you don't have Cole Palmer for those people that sold, although he's not been doing too much, has he? But yeah, I'd bench Wisser then, my friend. Thank you for the super chat as always. Joseph Stack says, Sup Ross, hope you and Pickle are good. We are good. Pickle should be very shortly on the way to Nottingham for Valentine's Day, which would be nice. Yeah, we're going out for dinner tomorrow. We might grab a takeaway or something tonight, but we'll be going out for dinner tomorrow. Thank you very much for the kind words, though. 8 attackers are Salah, Palmer, Rodgers, Clivert, and Burmo, Isak, Gakpo, Wisser. Who would you bench? I keep telling people to bench Wisser, and the more I say it, the more I'm like, why would you bench Wisser? Wisser's brilliant. But then in that position, Joseph, I'd bench Gakpo. I think any excuse to not have to bench Wisser, I would go for. So yeah, I would bench Gakpo there. Because like I said, there is a world in which Gakpo doesn't play against Wolves at all, and then gets a cameo against Aston Villa. And that would be a bit of a disaster. Because remember, the Villa game's not played until Wednesday, so... Gordon to a Bournemouth mid for a -4 or play João Pedro, thanks. I would do Gordon to a Bournemouth mid. I wouldn't play João Pedro. I'd rather play Gordon than João Pedro. Like, you could also not make the move and just play Gordon. Start one of each of Nico Williams or Robinson, Wood or Gakpo. Oh, Williams or Robinson, Wood or Gakpo. I would start Robinson ahead of Williams, and I would start... I think if you're starting... no, actually. Change my mind. I would prefer starting Wood to starting Gakpo, and I think if you're starting Chris Wood, you back Forest, and therefore I would start Nico Williams. So I would go all in, start Williams and Wood, and bench Robinson and Gakpo. That's what I would do, Connor, but it's each their own, right? Omar says, great content, Russ. Thank you very much. I didn't use any chip in Game Week 24 and got 128. 128 without a chip is legit. Should I use a chip in Game Week 25? If so, which chip should I use? I have Salah, Trent, and Alisson. If you've got the triple captain, I would triple captain. If you've got the assistant manager, I don't mind it on Emery. But honestly, I'd also be fine just not using a chip. If you've got your triple captain, I think you should use it this week. Assuming, of course, you don't have the assistant manager chip active. Dave says, Concert injured is annoying since I used my free transfer on Emery. Oh, are you saying because you've already got Concert? Okay, that's annoying. Yeah, I understand. Colwell and Davis are my 2 awful options on the bench, okay? Is Concert to a Villa defender for a -4 worth it? Or even Concert and Isak to Kirkes / Howson and Watkins -8? Ooh, quite like that. To be honest, I think my preference isn't even there. I think my preference would just be Concert to Howson and leave it there, Dave. That would be my preference. But I also don't mind the idea of going for Watkins as well if you want to really attack the double. Josh says, Howson, Mbeumo and Wood in for Cash, Gordon and Jackson for a -8. I don't know that I'd buy Chris Wood this week. I'd rather probably get Wisser. I'd rather Mateta. I'd rather Cunha. Wood wouldn't be up the priority list for me in terms of buys. But other than that, it's a nice set of moves, Josh. Johan says, Bruno, Rao, Gordon, Hall. So Ollie, Rodgers, Clivert and Gab. I'm assuming that's Gabriel. It's a lovely set of transfers. Depends how many of those are free. If at least 2 of those are free, yes. If you've only got 1 free transfer and that's a -12, I'm a little bit less keen. Listen, you will at some point in the season need to take a hit. Hits happen regardless. Very few people get through a whole season without a hit. And I know in a single week you don't want to take a -8, you don't want to take a -12, but also you don't want to field a rubbish team. So sometimes a hit is an evil necessity. Is that what I meant to say? Yeah. Sometimes you just have to take a hit to sort your team. I'll use Praz as an example. Praz has taken like back-to-back hits. I think he said back-to-back -8s. Praz is a great manager. Praz is really risk averse, but sometimes a hit is required. I don't think... Have I not taken a hit this... No, I have. Surely I have. What am I looking for? Game week history. I've not taken a hit this season. I can guarantee that is... I can guarantee that's going to change. That will change very, very soon. I can't believe I've not taken a hit this season. That's mad. Wow. Look how many red arrows I've had in recent weeks, by the way. Dear Lord. There's far too many reds there. Lucky my green... In fact, lucky both my green arrows were so massive because the reds have been consistently coming in. I've got 2 free transfers and 0.2 in the bank for those asking, and I've not yet made a transfer. Yeah, 0.2 in the bank, 2 free transfers. Bruno... I did that one. With the info we have, is it worth doing Gakpo to Wissa? I think if it's for free, yes, I'd be happy to do that. I also don't think it's that necessary, though. If you've got bench cover, you can either play the bench option instead or just start Gakpo and hope. Lots of people will be selling Gakpo now, and if he gets minutes against Wolves and starts against Villa, then it's great. I just think it doesn't sound great, what we know. And again, we do have limited info. That is worth noting. Hi, Ross. I only have the free hit and bench boost left. When should I play? Only the free hit and bench boost left. I think it has to be categorically then bench boost 33, free hit 34. That would be what I would do, Ethan, which means you have to get through 29 without a free hit. The reason I say that is if you bench boost in 33, your team for game week 34 is going to be rubbish because the teams that blank in 34 are going to be the ones that double in 33. So if you want a bench boost in the best game week this season, which will almost definitely be 33, 34 is going to be a nightmare to deal with, which is why... It's difficult because like I could probably do with a free hit in 29, but I just know that I'm going to then get to a point in 34. I'm like, oh, I could use a free hitter as well. Which moves us on to the next question. Are you planning on free hit 29? I would say I'm 70% free hit 34, 30% free hit 29, which is honestly, it's gone up. The percentage chance of a free hit in 29 has gone up. It's just, like I say, I know how difficult 34 is going to be to navigate alongside 33. The other option you've got is free hit 29, bench boost 33, and then wildcard after the blank game week in 34. So a later wildcard, but I don't like that as much. Assistant manager this week or save it for later? I think I'd save it for later, mate. I think I would now. I think you're going to have really good opportunities in the future. Or at least, even if you don't have really good opportunities, I don't think your opportunity will be that much worse than right now. I don't think right now is definitely going to be better than a future opportunity. So I would probably keep it. Ahmad for Wanyeri and Wood for Watkins for 18. For a -8. Ahmad to Wanyeri and Wood to Watkins. I don't hate that, actually. I also wouldn't say I love it. I'd be happy to do that. I don't like the fact that if it was for free, I'd say, yeah, go for it. But for a -8 to remove Ahmad and Wood, I'll sit on the fence and say if it's a move you're feeling good about, go for it. But I wouldn't necessarily advise it. Let's put it that way. Would you bench a Bournemouth mid or start Mateta or Wood? I would start Mateta the Bournemouth mid and I would bench Chris Wood. Ray says, I have 8 players blanking in 29 and Vandenberg and Castagna only 1 free transfer. 8 players blanking and Vandenberg and Castagna and 1 free transfer. That looks like a very good free hit, mate. Would you commit to it? Would I commit to a free hit 29 now, though? I would maybe keep it... I don't think Disassian for Castagna helps you that much, mate. I would keep it open for 1 more week and just have a think. But yeah, I would say you're pretty much there with a free hit 29. To have 8 players blanking and 2 fairly naff options for that week as well, you're basically looking at you need 5 or 6 transfers to do an okay job. Yeah, I think you're close, mate, to a free hit. Phil with an F says 3 free... I always struggle with when someone has 3 free transfers. Gakpo to Watkins, Moyes to Slot. Great. Or Gordon to Semenyo, Moyes to Emery. I like both of those. Or hope Gakpo starts. Already have Dango and Luis Diaz too for context. I think I'd go Gakpo to Watkins and Moyes to slot. I think I like that one the most. Jordan Palmer says, hi Ross, would you start Wissa or Beto? I'd go Wissa. Bina has become a Raptier X member. Thank you very much. I think we've only got 4 or 5 Raptier X members. 5, I think. So thank you for being one of the 5 Raptier X members. That's great. Very generous. Thank you. 2 fairly naff options. Yeah, that was a very British saying, isn't it? Naff. Is triple captain the move? If you've got the triple captain available and you don't have the assistant manager chip active, then yeah, triple captain is absolutely the move. Weird question for you, but what would be a bigger dream? Playing in the Sidemen charity match or finishing top 10 in the world? Finishing top 10 in the world, absolutely. I know a lot of the people there as well. So for me, it would be, and by the way, it'd be an amazing experience to play in a match like that. But I already get to chat to a lot of the influencers. I'm in a lucky position. So I'm not that desperate to be in. Like, it would be such a cool opportunity, but it's not like top 10 in the world. I don't think people realize how insane that would be for content. Like, my channel would blow up if I got top 10 in the world. And for me, the channel is the most important thing. So yeah, I would definitely say top 10 in the world. Evening, Ross. Pains me, but bench who? Gakpo or Son? I don't even know who Spurs have. Who does Spurs have? Spurs have fallen off the face of the earth in terms of being an FPL option. Who does... Oh, Man United. Of course I know who Spurs have. That was a momentary brain fart. So Son against Man United or Gakpo? Do I think Spurs will do a job? I mean, in my predictions, I've got Spurs versus Man United 1-1. What do you think, chat? Son or Gakpo? I think I'd start Heung-min Son. Penalties, guaranteed to get good mins. I think I'd go Son. And also a midfielder, as we know we like the midfielders, don't we? Are you rolling, says Martin. I am likely rolling. Yeah, not definitely, but likely. Ralph says, hey Ross, I've done Moyes to Emery and Kudus to Trossard. Love those moves, yeah. Would you also do Ndiaye to Wissa or leave it and start João Pedro? It's for a hit. The thing is, if João Pedro starts, then he's probably fine, but I don't even know that João Pedro definitely starts. I think Ndiaye to Wissa is a transfer you might want to make anyway, so I would be very tempted to do that myself, Ralph. But I'm very sorry if tonight João Pedro smashes it. I'd be very sad for you, but it's probably a move I would make, yeah. Kieran says, hey Ross, Gordon, Gakpo out, Kluivert, Mateta in. Gordon, Gakpo out, Kluivert, Mateta in. From -4? Yeah, I'd go for it. Forgot the assistant managership last game. Should I activate it now? As I said, I would probably lean just about towards saying I would keep. I think I would keep it and try and play it around the double in 32. Yeah, Son will run Euro mad. I do think Son will have a bit of a field day against whoever we have at right centre-back. Is there any polls that you want me to run, chat? I'm not running a captaincy poll. It feels rather useless. But are there any polls? I could maybe do assistant manager poll. That might be a useful one. Assistant. Or maybe a chip poll? No, because I don't have enough options then. Let me do an assistant manager poll. Slot. Emery. Oh, a Bournemouth mid poll. A Bournemouth mid poll is very good. I'll do that one in a second. Let me do the assistant manager poll. I'll leave that up for a little bit and then we'll do a Bournemouth mid poll. I like that one a lot. Slot Emery, other, and then no AM chip active. Other manager. AM chip not active. Slot Emery, other manager, AM chip not active. Right, that took way too long to get that poll sorted, sorry. There's a poll right now. Please make sure to vote on the poll. It's an assistant manager poll. So we've got slot Emery, other manager, and then assistant manager chip not active. So if you've not got the chip active, vote for the fourth option. This isn't who you would want. It's who you've got the chip active on. Slot Emery, other, and then assistant manager chip not active. I'm surprised other has 0. Oh, it's just gone to 1%. There are some other options, like Potter this week against Brentford. If he gets anything, that's good. Who are some other options? Marco Silva against Forest. Again, good table bonus. There are some decent single game managers, but I would probably go for Emery or Slot. Bring the Hill back, Ross. Honestly, my computer's struggling with easy, straightforward tasks. So I'm not going to risk the wheel. But once I upgrade my system, I might get a physical wheel. Maybe I should do that. Just get a physical wheel here, and then I can spin that until my heart's content. Can Newcastle potentially double in 33 and 36? No. They can double in... because they're doubling in 32 now, it will probably be 33 that they double in as well. I don't think there's a world in which they can double in 32, 33, and 36. I've not really thought about it since the double announcement, but I don't think so. I would say, as of right now, we are... I'm just putting a random percentage on this. Ben Krellin's probably the man you want to listen to, but I would say we're probably like 60 to 70% likely not to have a double in 36 now. Now that we've had double 32 announced for Palace and Newcastle, I would say there is a chance we don't get a double 36. Gakpo, by the way, that's not confirmed. We could very well have still a double in 36. Gakpo, Bruno Moyes for Trossard, Watkins, Slot. That is beautiful, mate. Yeah, I'd have to do that, Jake. I know it's a -8, but that's such a nice 3 transfers. Although Bruno against Spurs could absolutely do damage. Hertzler, table bonus, Hunters, let's go. Yeah, I don't mind Hertzler as well. Hertzler's a fine option. I think, what did Fantasy Football have as the projected points for the doublers? Where was it? Let me, assistant manager points predictions. Let's just go Gameweek25. So they've got Slot top, then Emery, then Silva, then Potter, then Hertzler, then Arteta. So yeah, they're probably your 3 best table bonus options if you want to go for a single manager. If you don't want to go for Emery, you don't want to go for Slot. You've got Silva, Potter, and Hertzler. All 3 of them get table bonus if they win. And remember, a table bonus win is worth 16 points, which is massive. 16 points just for the win. And bear in mind, the worst win you can get is 2-1. So that would be a minimum 18 points if you get a win. Versus, I think, then the second worst you can get is a 1-0 win, which would be a 19-pointer. So you're guaranteeing yourself 18 points if they get a win. It's also 8 for a draw, by the way, right? So, and again, the worst draw you can get is 1-1. So it's a guaranteed 9-pointer if you get a draw. 20. We can actually look at 26 whilst we're here, See, my computer struggles as soon as I start actually using the internet. So in 26 at the moment, it's such a dead week. I'll be honest. That's the issue with the system manager right now. Is 26 is dead. Arteta is currently the best. Then Van Nistelrooy, then Juric, then Iraola. Maybe Iraola's the one against Wolves, but Wolves have been okay. There is a chance, I think. Is there a chance that Newcastle are 5 places below? I think if City beat Newcastle and Nottingham Forest beat Fulham, I think Eddie Howe could get table bonus in 26. And both of those things would have to happen, I think, for it to be the case. But that would offer a really nice opportunity. Imagine Eddie Howe in 26 against Forest. I'd like that. I think there's a possibility of that taking place. I don't know for sure, though. It gets confusing because the table bonus moves a lot. Right, let me get back to answering your questions. We have got just over an hour till the deadline. We do actually have a counter now in the top left corner of the screen. Gameweek25 deadline. There we go. Gordon's Clivert for a -4. I don't hate it, Damien. Like, Clivert moving forward is just a better option, and he's cheaper, and he frees up funds. So even if Gordon plays, I think Clivert's fine for a transfer in. DA says, I have 1 free transfer. Who for Ahmad? Have 3 Liverpool and Rodgers with Palmer. I would just keep Ahmad, but if you're desperate to take him out, it's a Bournemouth midfielder. We'll do a poll for the Bournemouth mid soon, but I think Dango, if you want to go cheap, is absolutely fine. AKU has been a Raptor X member for 4 months. One of the legends that is. Best ball manager of the 24-25 season. What, me? Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Probably Arne Slot is the best ball manager of the 24-25 season. Nashi United, another Raptor X member. What a legend. Says, would you do Bruno to Dango, Concert to Trent, and Gakpo to Watkins for a -8? Concert to Trent. Don't love that part as much, but then... Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? I do overall like that. Yeah, as a set of 3 transfers, Nash United, I like that. And thank you very much for all of the support as always. Mendes Assanis, I'll just call you Mendes. Hi Ross, I have the same team as you, except I have Allison and João Pedro instead of Mateta. Okay. I haven't activated my assistant manager now. Any advice for my team? So you've got João Pedro instead of Mateta. Oh, so you've got to start Enzo or Mateta. Is that what you're saying? Have you got a better option than Mateta? Sorry, than Enzo. I would want, if you've got a similar team to mine, can you upgrade Enzo to like Dango Watara and then bench João Pedro? I would basically want to find a way to bench João Pedro, and the only way that I can think of your team is the same as mine is to get Enzo to Dango Watara. Bench 1 of Palmer, Mbermo, Isak, Wood, Clivert. I think it's Chris Wood there, Abu, if that's your team. For me. Trust your gut feeling though, but I think it's Chris Wood. MN Chuckstar, what a legend as always. Love to see you, my friend. Hi Ross, Ahmad/Greaves to Clivert/Howson. Beautiful. Or Ahmad/Gordon to... Oh, I lost your message. Or Ahmad/Gordon to Clivert/Mbermo. Start Castagna. Oh, that's a tough one. I think I would go... I would go Ahmad and Greaves to Clivert and Howson. I think that's a really nice set of 2 moves that just upgrade your team in general. And maybe keep Gordon a little bit longer. Yeah, I would go that way just about, but I think that's very close. Have a great weekend as well, mate. I appreciate all the support. Blackfinch says, hi, Ross, rate my team. Okay, I'm looking at your team. Good. Solid. Defense is a little weak in terms of Colwill, although it's okay outside of that, I suppose. Clivert, Palmer, Ahmad, Wood, Isak, Watkins. Love that front 3 is pretty good. I love having the... Isak and Watkins is such a strong position to be in. I don't know, I'd give it like an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5. I think I'd like Rodgers there in an ideal world, but I don't think you need him. And Colwill's not great as like a 5th defender. But yeah, overall, mate, it's a very, very solid team. I like it a lot. AG has been a member for 39 months. Blinking hell, 39. Hey, Ross, sell Gakpo to Watkins and Gordon to which midfielder? I think Gordon to a Bournemouth midfielder, Clivert, Semenyo, Dango, honestly, it's completely up to you. Like, who do you prefer? And Gakpo to Watkins feels very solid. Yeah, I like that a lot. Hey, Ross, do you have any transfers in mind? Not at the moment, KG. I think I'm just going to leave it. In terms of the future, I absolutely have transfers planned. I want to sell Enzo for a Bournemouth mid, and I'll probably want to sell Arne Slot for another manager in 26. So I think I'll be using 2 transfers next week, sadly. I'd rather not. The other option I have is actually selling Rodgers next week and keeping Enzo, because at least Enzo has a fixture in 29. So I think I have to commit next week to what I want to do in 29, and I think that will determine my chip strategy overall. Cool, you've got just under an hour till the deadline. Isn't this cool having a deadline counter? I'm back in the 21st century. Darren says, hi Ross, swap Mazraoui for Disasi to attack the double or just play Munoz. Oh, just play Munoz. Yeah, Munoz is fine. Like, I wouldn't buy Disasi just to bench Munoz. Gabriel and Robinson as your other 2 as well. Yeah, honestly, mate, I'd roll. I think Disasi could do well, by the way. If you really want another doubler, go for it. But Munoz, Gabriel, Robinson as a back 3 is fine. Bench Ahmad or Sarr or Dallo. I'd bench Dallo. I'd much rather start Ahmad than Sarr. If you have to bench one of Ahmad or Sarr, probably bench Sarr and start Ahmad, but that's quite a close one. Bina says, oh, wise one. Hello, I'm here. I'm not particularly wise, but I'll try. Who are you benching from this front 8? So many bad decisions to make. It's probably Chris Wood. I mean, who are your other options to bench? Maybe a Dango, but... No, actually, sorry, I didn't see Gakpo. Cut that. Sorry. I thought Gakpo was Mateta for some reason. Gakpo, then. I think it's between Gakpo and Wood, but I would start Chris Wood ahead of Gakpo with the news, I think. Stefan says, Gakpo to Watkins and Eze to Dango. That allows me to activate the assistant manager. Big thumbs up from me. I don't love selling Eze this week, but Dango and Watkins, big moves. Hi, would you do Wood to Watkins for a -4? We'll force a second -4 later. Probably not then. Because I could do something similar, but probably not. I'd probably just save the transfer. Michael says, Canate, or save the hit, I should say. Canate, Howson, and Mateta for Lewis, Hall, and Gakpo for free. Yeah. Canate's a bit uninspiring, but it is a double, so I don't hate it. And he's playing for a good defence. Yeah, it's a nice set of 3 transfers. Just bear in mind, you are bringing in 2 players that also blank in 29. I know you're selling 2 players that blank in 29, but you're not necessarily improving your situation for Game Week 29. If you make those moves, though, mate, yeah, your team looks unreal. Like, to have a bench of Verbruggen, Visser, Robinson, and Murillo. I know Murillo might not play, but yeah, that's a very solid team, Michael. Do you know what? I'll give them the thumbs up, but just bear in mind that your team now has Henderson, Canate, Isak, Mateta. Okay, actually, you've only got 4 blankers for 29. Do you know what? I'll take it back. You're in a fine position, Michael. Yeah, good to go. Sam says, I have Rodgers, Diaz, Palmer, Ahmad, Salah, Watkins, Isak, and Mateta. Bench one for me, please. Sadly, Ahmad. I think it has to be Ahmad there, Sam. As much as I don't want to say that as a United fan, I think you bench Ahmad there. AKU says, hey, Rossi, hope you had a good week. I've been very, very busy with my PhD, I'll be honest. Like, I'm in the midst of the busiest point of my PhD. So I've been super busy. And I've still made... This is my 7th piece of long-form content this week in FPL. Like, it's been... Like, it's just mad. Anyway, not about me. I currently have Salah, Trent, Gakpo, and Moyes with 2 free transfers and 0.4 in the bank. I know this has been asked a million times, but Slot or Emery? With 2 free transfers, I don't hate now that Gakpo's a doubt. Gakpo to Wisser and then go and get Slot. I don't hate that. Or, if you don't want to go Wisser, someone else is absolutely fine. But... I think if you've got loads of free transfers, 4 or 5, it's easy. I think if you've only got 1 free transfer and it's going to require a hit, you just go to Emery. Oh, that's a tough one. I think I would do it. I think I would go Gakpo to Wisser and get Slot. But if you think that Emery will get a result against... If you think Villa will get something against Liverpool, and it is close for me, then I would probably go and just get Emery instead, obviously, because he's going to outscore him. If you think a similar thing will happen as what happened with Moyes and Slot in Gameweek 24, then just go and get Emery. Hello, Ross. 1 free transfer. Sar for Dango, thanks. You could make a move, yeah. It's one of those that's like, it's fine. I don't think it's a necessary transfer, Michael, but I think Sar for Dango is also fine. Hamad says, 4 free transfers, Gakpo to Watkins, Hall to Kirkes or Canate, triple captain Salah. I say Gakpo to Watkins and a Hall to Kirkes. I like that a lot. I love the idea of getting a Bournemouth defender in this week. 2 free transfers. Gordon to Dango done. Robinson to Howson or Roll. I would Roll. I'd just keep Robinson. Mr. Player, mate, I have Rodgers. What's your 11? I'm trying to think what your super chat was. Okay, you have Rodgers. Yeah, so Ahmad... Oh, if you have Rodgers then... Yeah, it's like a 9 then. In terms of who would I bench then from your team? It's probably Ahmad or Wood. It's Ahmad or Wood. I'll leave that decision with you. I would probably bench Ahmad and start Chris Wood there. Emery assistant manager table bonus is really tempting me. Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame... If Emery gets a win against Liverpool, that's a huge score. If you've got Moyes, Emery, and Everton get the draw against Liverpool, and then Villa beat Liverpool, you are rolling in the points. That is best case scenario. It's just how much you think that's a possibility. I am a bit upset that I don't have a Bournemouth player. I'll be real. Bournemouth are going to absolutely slap Southampton, and I'm sat there with no Bournemouth. But I just don't see an easy route or a necessary route. Like, I've got the money in the bank to do... No, I don't. I could do, like, Robinson to Kirkes, but then I'm benching Munoz, so I don't want to do that. I could do... Like, I could make a double transfer of Robinson to Howson, and then that gives me the money to Enzo to Ouattara, but then I'm benching Chris Wood, and then I'm still having to bench Munoz if I want. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't see... I don't see a good route in my team to go out there and get Bournemouth this week, so I just think I've got to accept that. Yeah, I'll do the Bournemouth mid poll right now. So in terms of the assistant manager poll, 49% have the chip active on Slot, 31% Emery. So quite a lot on Emery, and then 18% not active, 2% are using it on another manager. Right, I'm going to run a Bournemouth midfielder poll. Bournemouth midfielders. Who would you prefer to buy this week if you could choose any of them? So the poll is, who would you choose to buy? Let's say you've already got Clive, but let's say you have no one. Who would you buy afresh this week from the Bournemouth mids? Try and be unbiased. If you've got Semenyo and you don't think he's the best option, don't vote Semenyo, basically. But I'll be very interested to see who people think. I think Clivert's going to be the most popular, but we'll see. Bournemouth midfielders. Who would you prefer to buy this week if you could choose any of them? Clivert, Semenyo, Ouattara. I bet Tavernier is going to be the top scoring midfielder or something this week. It's going to be Tavernier, isn't it? Right. Right, the poll is there, so please feel free to vote on the poll. Who would you like to buy from the Bournemouth mids? Carl says, -8 for Gakpo, Porro out to Kirkers and Watkins. Yeah, I like that a lot, Carl. I'd get that done. Mendes says, hi, Ross. Same team here. Followed your advice to buy Ouattara Dango. 1.5 in the bank. Should I activate my assistant manager? And if so, who'd you suggest? I can't remember what the team was, but if you have the ability to go and get Slot, I would do it. Unless you think Emery gets a result, and then I'd get Emery. I would also say I'd probably keep the assistant manager just. I think it's close, but I would just about favour keeping it for around double game week 32. But I also think it's a fine week to activate it. But yeah, hope the team's looking good now, mate. Gakpo and Gordon to Watkins and Dango / Clivert for a -4. Yeah, it's a very popular move this week. I think if you've got Gordon and Gakpo, selling the pair of them for Watkins and a Bournemouth midfield is very easy. I'd be happy to do that. Sarr to Clivert to start ahead of Mbermo, thanks. Would I sell Sarr to bench Mbermo? No, I wouldn't. I just bench Sarr. Shazam with another... Shazam, you need to stop being so generous. That's what you need to stop doing. Thank you so much, though. Far too kind. Would you do Robinson / Hall to Kirkers for a -4? If so, which one? Only if you're having to start Hall. If you don't have to start Hall and you can just start Robinson as part of your back three, then I would probably not do it. If you're having to start Lewis Hall, then yeah, maybe Hall to Kirkers for a -4 isn't awful. If I was going to sell one of Robinson or Hall, and Shazam, this is assuming that you're not free hit 29, I would sell Hall before Robinson, because Robinson has a fixture in 29, right? Deck says, hi Ross, best of luck with the PhD, thank you. Gut feeling start Wissa or Gakpo. Gut feeling tells me start Wissa, personally. FPL Pickle is calling. Hello, FPL Pickle, how are you? Hello? Hello? Okay, FPL Pickle's on the phone. Is this a butt dial? I don't know if that was a butt dial or not. Sorry. The girlfriend calls in the middle of the live stream, but I don't know if it was meant to be a call or not. Gakpo to Wissa -4 or hold. She is trying to call. Hello, FPL Pickle?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yep. You okay?
Okay, yeah, sorry. I was just calling to ask, is there anything I need to know about before the deadline? So I'm not going to have time to check really.
No, you'll be fine. If there's anything you need to know for the deadline, I'll text you.
Okay, cool. I'm probably going to roll. All right, bye.
Okay, love you, bye.
See you, bye.
The girlfriend called to chat FPL. Sorry to the 3,500 people I kept waiting there. She just wanted to know, I didn't know if you could hear, but she wanted to know if there was any news that meant that she's got to roll the transfer, but she's busy, so she can't look at any news. Anyway, yeah, I would start Wissa, Deck. Jake says, Gakpo to Wissa -4 or hold. I think I'd probably sell him. I think I would. Got Watkins 1 free transfer for DM. Do you mean AM? Bit confused by the message overall. We can hear Pickle. Pickle stuck in the pickle jar. Poor Pickle. Sorry if I miss people's messages, by the way. I feel really bad. I see people in the chat all the time. I'm like, why is he not reading my messages? And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like I say, on average, I think there's like 30,000 messages in a live stream. So it's just inevitable that I'm going to keep ignoring people, but I don't mean to. I'm trying my best. Hopefully me answering other people's questions is still helping a little bit. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you. And to you as well. Sarr to Dango or Gordon to Clivert? Gordon to Clivert. Wissa or Trossard? Just outright this week, I'd rather have Trossard, probably. Start Howson or Munoz? Oh, that's so tough. That is so tough. Munoz for the attacking threat, just. Have Canate, Trent, Robinson. Oh, I would bench. Yeah, so you got to start Canate, Trent, and then one of Howson or Munoz. Howson or Munoz is so tough. I think I'd start Munoz. Zach says Moyes to Slot. Yep. Gakpo to Wissa. Yep, -4. Or just Moyes to Emery. It's personal preference, mate. If you think, again, just what do you think will happen between Liverpool and Aston Villa? That's all it comes down to. I would go for the Slot move just about. Triple captain Salah. Yeah, if you still got the triple captain active, absolutely. Love the live hotline to Pickle. Hello, no worries. Yeah, it was a quick one. It was a quick one. Is Gakpo definitely out? No, not at all. Apparently, Arne Slot said he's a doubt, and then he wasn't seen in training. There was, I think, Sky Sports were at. Is it Melwood? I can't even remember where Liverpool trained, but Sky Sports were at their training ground for Liverpool, and they apparently Gakpo wasn't pictured or seen in training. So it doesn't look great, but he might play. He might come off the bench. He might start against Villa. Villa's not until Wednesday, remember? So he's got 5 days until that. FPL Pickle says, Happy Valentine's Day, people. Happy Valentine's Day to you, my Pickle. See you very soon. Pickle is rolling the transfer. Pickle's team is very similar to mine. And no, she's not copying me. But yeah, we're both rolling the transfer this week. I just don't think, if your team's looking something like mine and you've got Arne Slot already, you've got Morgan Rogers, there's like no need to. Currently rushing to get a train to Nottingham. Yeah, that you are. Make sure that you're on time. I'll see you soon. I love you too. Yeah, you're copying her, basically. Triple captain or assistant manager. I think if you've got both and you've not already activated the assistant manager, I'd rather triple captain to assistant manager this week. Hassan has said Raya, Milenkovic, Isak and Konsa on the bench, as my team is already stacked. You've got Raya on the bench. Wait, what? You've got Raya and Isak on the bench, or am I reading that wrong? Triple Liverpool on the field and Wood Gakpo up front. Would you bench boost? No, I wouldn't bench boost that in a million years. Konsa is out and Gakpo's a major doubt. That's not a bench boost in any world. Unless you're saying you're going to sell Konsa and Gakpo. But no, that's not a bench boost, my friend. Unless you've missed the news on Konsa and Gakpo. But yeah, it's not a bench boost. I also can't imagine who you would have starting instead of Raya. Unless you've gone out there and bought Emi Martinez. But I would start Raya ahead of any other keeper this week other than... Oh, maybe you've got Alisson. But that's a lot of money. I don't know. Hi, Ross. Isak to Watkins and Greaves to Kirkers. Sounds good to me. Sounds very good to me. Gordon to Trossard for a -4, chasing rank. Yeah, I don't mind it. You need Trossard to go quite big, though, and you ideally need Gordon to blank, so it could backfire horribly. But if you're chasing, then why not, you know? Caleb Brown says, bench Gakpo for Wissa. Yeah, I'd start Wissa ahead of Gakpo now, I think. Trina says, hey, Raptor, I'm stuck. I'm here to help. Oh, I just threw my mouse across the room. Wood or Gakpo to Watkins? I think I'd sell Gakpo before Wood. Yeah. I have Isak too, and Gordon out for Dango. Yeah, it's the classic move that I just said was really popular, like Gakpo to Watkins, Gordon to Dango. I like that a lot. I can also get Mbermo in with Dango, but then no Watkins. I'd probably go just for a Bournemouth midfield now then. Yeah, I'd go Bournemouth midfielder and Watkins for Gakpo. I like that a lot. Happy Valentine's Day all. Happy Valentine's, PJ. Sar to a Bournemouth midfielder, if so, who? I mean, we're running a poll as things stand. 63% say Kluivert, 14% Semenyo, 23% Ouattara. It really depends how much you want to chase. Kluivert is definitely going to be the most highly owned Bournemouth asset. So if you want to just be a bit protective, and if you're happy with your rank, happy with where you are in the mini leagues, maybe Kluivert. Kluivert might be the one to go and buy. If you want to chase a bit more, Semenyo and Ouattara will be a lot lower owned. I reckon in 3 or 4 weeks, Semenyo will probably end up as the most lowly owned Bournemouth midfielder. I think it will be like Kluivert's going to end up at like 50, 60%. Dango Ouattara will be about sort of 30%. And I reckon Semenyo will stay down because he's not hauled yet. Like Semenyo's not gone out and got a hat-trick. So everyone's like, he can't do it. He probably can do it, by the way, but that's why he'll be lower owned because he's not had that haul. Do we really sell Gordon now with the double game week coming? To be fair, mate, there's a blank in 29. They've got 3 tough fixtures now. You might not see City as tough, but yeah, I don't think it's awful to sell Gordon and buy him back. Unless you've got loads tied up, but you shouldn't have that much tied up in him anyway. With double game week 32, isn't free hit 39, dead end 34 a better strat? No, because you're probably going to want a bench boost in 33, or at least field a really good doubling team. And the teams that double in 33 are the ones that blank in 34. So you've got a double and then a blank, but the teams that double are going to be the ones that blank. So 33 and 34 back-to-back are going to be really difficult to navigate without a free hit. That isn't to say it won't be possible, by the way. It's just a little bit more difficult. Start one of Wissa, Wood, and Munoz. Start one of them. Probably just marginally Chris Wood. But that's not a particularly easy one. I just like a penalty taker. You guys know I love a penalty taker. Start Enzo or João Pedro. I'd probably start the... I mean, Enzo will definitely start. João Pedro might not. But then João Pedro's on penalties. I'd probably start João Pedro, but we might get a leak that he starts or doesn't. So that would be useful. Calculated Whisper says, Ross, I have one free transfer, Diaz, Trent, and Salah. Okay. Want to play assistant manager slot and -4 for Kluivert to Diaz. Is it worth it? Still have bench boost, wildcard free hit, done triple cap in game week 24. Yeah, I don't mind that, actually. I also think you could keep Luis Diaz. With Gakpo a bit of a doubt, he probably starts both. So I wonder, could you just play the assistant manager on Emery or keep the assistant manager and keep Diaz? I think I would keep Luis Diaz, honestly. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I've not really thought about what I would do with Luis Diaz, but my initial thought is don't take the hit. That's my opinion. Happy Valentine's Day, Ross. Happy Valentine's Day to you. I have Iwobi and João Pedro, okay, and planning to make one free transfer with 2.5 in the bank. Whom to go for? I already own Rodgers and Kluivert. So 2.5 can't get you up to Watkins, can it, from João Pedro? João Pedro to Mateta is not an awful transfer, or just go and get a second Bournemouth midfielder. Iwobi to Dango and double up on the Bournemouth mids. I don't mind that at all. So I'd probably say Mateta or Dango. Or, Trossard. Maybe you go out there and take a punt on Trossard for Iwobi. It's a possibility as well. Thor says, which Aston Villa midfielder? Tielemans, Bailey, or McGinn? None of the above. If I had to pick one, Tielemans, because he's the only one that will definitely start both. McGinn and Bailey probably don't start both. In fact, Bailey might not start either. McGinn might not start. I'd probably go Ramsey if you're going to go at a cheap price, but out of those options, Tielemans. But Tielemans is going to play in a deep role. You're buying like a defensive midfielder there. I don't like any of those options. Sorry, Thor. Hopefully the family feud is going well. Jack Harper says, Eze to Kluivert have House and Semenyo. Yeah, don't think it's a necessity this week to sell Eze, but I also prefer Kluivert. So if it's for free, Jack, yeah, I'm fine with that. Hatik says, hey Ross, 2 probs, okay, problems, have Conser and Gakpo with 0 free transfers, got Kirkes. 1, get Kluivert, Dango for Sarr and bench Gakpo, okay, starting Rodgers. 2, get Conser out, or 3, Watkins for Gakpo for none. I quite like Watkins for Gakpo the most there, I think. Yeah, Watkins to Gakpo. Watkins for Gakpo. It feels like the highest upside. It feels like you're attacking it a little bit, and I like that. Hossam says, take out Gakpo and Moyes for Wissa and Slot for a hit. Yeah, got no issue with that. A lot of people will use the opportunity to sell Gakpo to get on a Slot, so I don't have a massive issue with it at all. By the way, you've got just under 40 minutes until the deadline. Got Isak, Gakpo, Wissa. Sell Isak for Watkins, ? No, I think if you're going to sell anyone, it's got to be Gakpo for Watkins. I don't love selling Isak to Watkins when you're sat there with Gakpo. I also just think Isak's so good. I don't love selling Isak particularly. I don't know. I'm going to say no to that, Darren. But if you've got a really good feeling about Watkins and you can't get him for Gakpo, then maybe you sell Isak. Hi, Ross. I have exactly the same team as you, apart from Ahmad to Mbermo. Okay, so you've got a bit more money in the bank. 1.3 in the bank. Free transfer Bournemouth mid to Enzo / Ahmad. Or who to bench? Maybe Wood. Yeah, if you have in my exact team, but Ahmad instead of Mbermo and money in the bank, I would probably sell Enzo to a Bournemouth mid and then bench Ahmad. But I equally think you could just roll the transfer and just start Ahmad. Starting Ahmad's absolutely fine. But I think if I had the money to get a Bournemouth mid for Enzo, I'd be very tempted to do that. And then, yeah, you'd bench Ahmad or Chris Wood. I think you're fine either way. Isak is expected to drop in price tonight. Interesting. Thanks for letting me know, mate. Okay, Isak expected to drop in price. Should we have a quick look at the price changes, and then I'll get back to answering your questions. Price changes. Wow. Wow. Oh my God. There are a lot of expected price changes tonight. Not all of these will happen. We've got Rodgers, Kluivert, Mateta, Tarkowski, House and Trossard, Munoz, Rashford, and Wissa. So all of the players on your screen there predicted to possibly rise in price tonight. But again, by the time we reach it, these predictions might have changed. So they won't all definitely rise. And then in terms of predicted to fall, oh wow, that is a long old list. Dear Lord. Let me go this way. We've got Ahmad, Gordon, Hall, Sanchez, Son if you own him, Jackson. Where's Isak on? How close is Isak here? Yeah, Isak's predicted to fall in price tonight as well. Yeah, Isak will almost definitely fall. That is a long old list of players. There are going to be a lot of price changes tonight. Bloody hell. Thanks for pointing that out, Shazam. Interesting. So, yeah. Rodgers has been predicted to rise for 2 days now. Yeah, I saw that, actually. Yeah, people are pulling triggers. You are right, Jeremy. You are right. Is Gakpo really a doubt? Slot almost brushed it off. If it was only the Slot press conference, I'd be feeling okay about Gakpo, but he also wasn't seen in the team training today. Now, it might be that he took part in some part of it towards the back end and the cameras didn't pick up that part, but it would worry me a little bit. It would probably worry me enough to not want to have him in my team. GN Webb says, hi Ross, love the content. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Need some advice on my bench. Can only start one of the following players. Ndai, João Pedro, Castagna, Hall, Mikalenko. Well, Ndai's out. No. Mikalenko's a bit meh. Hall's got City. It's probably João Pedro or Castagna. I'd maybe take a risk and just hope that João Pedro gets a pen and hope that he starts. I'd probably start João Pedro from those options, but I don't think that's great, to be honest. But yeah, that's probably where I'd go. Bench Ahmad or Gordon. I'd probably start Gordon and just hope that Eddie Howe was being honest and that he's fit. Thor says, wife went double Brighton while I went with Wood and Morgan Gibbs-White. I feel like surely at some point you're making this up, Thor. It can't be this savage every single time. I feel like, shout out to your wife as well, because I feel like she gets really unlucky. Hopefully Matoma hauls for her tonight. I hope Matoma gets 5 goals for your wife tonight. That'd be a nice Valentine's present, wouldn't it? If she can get a Matoma haul. Wood and Gordon to Watkins and Rodgers. Yeah. It's worth the -4, I think. Hi, Ross. I have one free transfer. Should I sell Gordon or Sarr to buy either Rodgers or Kluivert? I think you could do both for a hit, to be fair, mate. But yeah, I think... Would I sell Gordon or Sarr first? I'd maybe sell Gordon just because he is a doubt. Gordon to Kluivert seems good to me. Isak to Watkins -4, or Gakpo and the Sarr to Watkins and 4.6 mid -8. I tell you what, spicy, mate. Gakpo and the Sarr to Watkins and Wanyeri. I would do that. I'm very jealous of anyone that can go out there and get an Arsenal midfielder. I know their team's a bit destroyed with injuries, but I like it. Best Sanchez replacement. I think it's Kepa if you need a player in 29. If you don't need a player in 29 because you're free hitting or you've got a second goalkeeper, I would go out there and get Henderson. So yeah, Kepa and Henderson would be my top 2. The reason that I'm not as keen on Pickford is Pickford's fixtures from 30 onwards are awful. Look at that. So unless you are wildcarding in 30, which I'm not sure I will, so I might have to start Pickford for these two, I'm looking at wildcard 32. And so I might have to play him for this couple here. That's why I don't like him. Like, if these two are okay, then I'd look at that overall and go, do you know what? I'll go get Pickford. But yeah, I'd probably go Kepa or Henderson. Sterling masterclass incoming, believe. Sterling hasn't had a masterclass in a very long while, but I hope for his sake that he puts in a performance at some point. Wood to Watkins and Gordon to Rodgers, or just JK in? So just get Kluivert. Wood to Watkins and Gordon to Rodgers. Where does Kluivert come in? Why wouldn't it be Wood to Watkins and Gordon to Kluivert? Bit confused by the question, but I like all three, actually. I don't mind the double Aston Villa and I don't mind Kluivert. Salah says, Gameweek 25 team, Pickford, Robinson, House. Okay, I'm not going to read it out, but I can see the team. Cool, that's outstanding. I love the Jacob Ramsey punt, mate. Really strong team. Is it okay to bench Gakpo? Yeah, especially with that team. Bloody hell, that's a really strong team. I like that a lot. Yeah, I think you're fine to bench Gakpo there. Matt says, Van Dijk to Konate, Gakpo to Watkins, Moyes to Slot. I understand you're selling Van Dijk to fund one of those or both of those moves. It's just such a sideways move to do Van Dijk to Canate. Like, is that a good use of your transfer? I would almost argue Van Dijk to Kirkes is a better use of a transfer than Canate, because at least it gives you an extra player for 29. Does that make sense? It just feels like such a not particularly optimal way to free up the funds. But I get it. Yeah, overall, Matt, I do prefer those three. Ralph says, start Mikalenko or Robinson. Robinson for me. Robinson. Benching headache this week, Raptor. Isak in for Wisser or Wood? I would bench Wisser out of those three, mate. But yeah, that is a headache, and it's very close. With an eye on blank game at 29, 6 blankers currently and 1 free transfer with 0.3 in the bank. Is it better to ignore assistant manager this week and roll the transfers? Yeah, maybe, mate. That is one of the benefits of not playing your assistant manager right now, is you're focusing your money and your transfers on dealing with blank game at 29. So yeah, maybe, Greg. I don't mind that. Need to swap Ndiaye out. Currently have Wood and Isak with 4 million in the bank. Ndiaye to Watkins is easy then, mate, if you've got 4 million in the bank. Start Flecken over Bruggen. I'd probably start Flecken, and if he plays, then you get Flecken. Otherwise, you get Verbruggen off the bench. Yeah, I'd probably start Flecken. We have got 30 minutes until the deadline. You've got a 30-minute warning. Sells, Henderson, Trent, Gabriel, Munoz, Konsa, Mikalenko. Okay, I'm not going to read out the whole team out loud, but I'm reading your team. Total 1,631 points, top 70k, very nice. Assistant manager on slot from 24, 0.9 in the bank, and 5 free transfers. It's a great position to be in. What to do and who to bench, who to start, Sells or Henderson. So I would start Henderson ahead of Sells. Who to bench? Konsa, Mikalenko, and Saar, probably. What do you do with your transfers? Well, probably Konsa to Howson or Konsa to Dazassi. Konsa's the transfer to use there, and then roll the rest of them, mate. It's a really nice team to have, though. Hatik says, thanks for the tips, Ross. Always welcome. Got Watkins. Should I start Konsa? Konsa's out, so no. Have Hall and Greaves on the bench. I'd probably sell Konsa. Or I also start Sells or Henderson. Yeah, I would start Henderson. Happy Valentine's Day, my friend. I would sell Konsa in that position. Or if you don't want to, then I would just start Hall. Izzy Gamer says, is rank 151k still okay? 151k at this point in the season is great. I'm delighted with 96k. I think anything inside the top 500k is great. Even inside the top million right now is not awful. And if you're outside of it, oh well, you've still got loads of the season left. But yeah, 151k at this point is a great rank. Let me know what your ranks are in the chat. Let's see who's got the best rank. Is it okay to bench Gakpo with a midfield of Rodgers, Kluivert, Palmer, and Mbeumo, Salah, and Isak and Wisser as your 2 forwards? Absolutely, Caleb. Absolutely. $48k, 6.2k, 13k, 6k. God, lots of people doing well. 72k. Is it because of my live streams? Is that why everyone is ranked so highly? I respect it. Someone's put 329. Is that K or is that 25? There are lots of sort of top 50k ranks. That's great. Seen a few people a little bit lower. That's absolutely fine. Zodiac has been a member for 29 months. I really appreciate you, my friend. Hi, Ross. If you were me, okay, I'm gonna imagine I'm you. Would you sell Gakpo for Watkins? Yes. Yes, I would, especially as you can do it with only one of your 2 free transfers. I think that's relatively easy. I would do it. I will just note that selling an injury doubt for another injury doubt does come with risks. So if you're buying Watkins and selling Gakpo off of my advice, I will caveat that it is always a slight risk selling a doubt for another doubt, because what happens if Watkins is worse than we thought and Gakpo's better than we thought? And actually Gakpo plays more minutes than Watkins. Without knowing exactly the situation, it's difficult, but I would do it, yeah. Dan says Bruno to Dango and Pedro to Watkins for a -4, or just Bruno to Kluivert for free. Bruno to Dango and Pedro to Watkins for a -4, just Bruno to Kluivert for free. I would do the -4, mate. Thanks again for the Arsenal shirt last season. Let's roll into it. I remember. You won the giveaway, didn't you? What a legend, Dan. Yeah, I did a giveaway last season on Instagram for some shirts. I remember you now, Dan. I remember the name. I won't try and pronounce your second name, but thank you very much for following the socials. And also, yeah, I'll take the -4. Pete is jamming. Isak to Watkins or Ahmad to Kluivert? I prefer Ahmad to Kluivert overall, I think. But I also think that's not a transfer you desperately have to make either. Matthews has got 4 free transfers. Sell Mikalenko to Villa or Bournemouth defender? Sell Mikalenko to Villa or Bournemouth defender? I think I'd go a Bournemouth defender. I mean, I don't mind Dazassi, or if you want to take a punt on Luca Dean, but I'd probably go Howson. Mikalenko to Howson. Bob says, should I do Jacob Murphy to Kluivert, Rogers or Dango, or someone else? Or do I just keep Murphy now that he's not blanking? Murphy is blanking. Murphy has a blank in Game Week 29. So just to confirm, Newcastle and Palace blank in Game Week 29. That's confirmed. So yeah, I would do Jacob Murphy to... I think I would go for a Bournemouth mid. I think Kluivert's probably the safest option, but I do really like Dango Ouattara. Connor says -4 for a benched Rogers just in case Gakpo blanks. Take a -4 on bench Rogers. No, I mean, if you buy Rogers, you have to start Rogers. But yeah, I don't mind the idea of making sure that you've got cover for Gakpo, absolutely. I think that's probably a smart thing to do, is making sure you've got a good first sub. If you're ending up wanting to start Gakpo, I also think you can sacrifice... sorry, I read his message. You can... where was I with my thoughts? You can equally bench Gakpo. Sorry, the message I was reading is sacrifice Palmer for Watkins. I wouldn't do that, no. Palmer's got coming up, after the Villa game, Southampton and Leicester at home in 27 and 28. Have a feeling that Rodgers will get sent off against Ipswich. If you have that feeling, then sell Rodgers or don't buy him. It'd be a crazy prediction. Let me try and timestamp this in my mind. There was 25 minutes left of the stream when someone told me that Rodgers would be sent off against Ipswich. If that happens, you are a wizard. You're a time traveller. Gakpo, Gordon to Watkins, Rodgers, any Bournemouth mid. Yep, I would do Gakpo and Gordon to Watkins and Kluivert or Semenyo or Dango, any of them. Othman says, what transfers would you do and start with one free transfer? Well, Moyes to Emery. And I think you can leave the rest of the team, mate. You do have a bit of a benching headache, right? You've probably got a bench, one of Sarr or Ahmad, and then Vandenberg and Hall. And I would start Colwill, Trent, Aina. And then probably, yeah, use your transfer to do Moyes to Emery. And then otherwise, it's a good teammate. I don't think you necessarily need to start taking hits with that team too much. Ben says, hi Ross, my one free transfer, Moyes to Emery done. Is Isak to Watkins worth a -4? No, probably not for me. Unless you really have a good feeling about Watkins. I'd get Isak back by selling Trent to Kirkes and then Dye to Isak in the coming weeks. Yeah, but then you're going to have to buy him back for a much more expensive price. It's extra transfers just to get... I probably wouldn't do it. If the double for Watkins was like Ipswich and Brentford, and if he was definitely fully fit, then I'd justify it. But considering one of the games is Liverpool, and considering he's a bit of a fitness doubt, I probably wouldn't take a hit to Isak to Watkins personally. But other people will probably like it a lot. Sorry, there's a little bit of lag on the visuals. Hopefully the audio is still all good. Pat Key says, 0.2 in the bank, have to do a -4 for Moyes to Emery / Slot, Enzo to Wanyeri, first sub if Gakpo injured, or Gakpo to Wissa equals Slot opinions. I like Enzo to Wanyeri, but I wouldn't bench Wanyeri particularly. But if Gakpo to Wissa gives you Slot, I probably prefer that. I'd probably do Gakpo to Wissa and get Slot, but I also don't mind the Wanyeri route. It's not bad. By the way, is Kluivert playing with his baby news? I think he'll be fine. Yeah, I wouldn't stress too much about Kluivert missing due to the baby. How much to consider blank game week 29 when making transfers? I think you start to consider it quite a lot, honestly. You shouldn't prioritize 29 over 25. Like, if you've got ways that you can attack right now. But in the back of your mind, you should have 29 quite firmly there, I think. Hall or Lewis start? Happy Valentine's, Ross. Thank you very much. I would start... Oh, that's a tough one, actually. I think I'd still start Lewis Hall. City are terrible. Lewis is rubbish. I'd start Lewis Hall probably for the... He takes set pieces at least, so you might get a corner assist or something. Ben says, hi Ross, I've got slot assistant manager and 3 free transfers. What do you think of Sarr to Dango and Dye to Wissa? Then is it worth using the last transfer to do Hall to Howson? Saar to Dango and then Dai to Wiss is wonderful. Hall to Howson's also really nice. It depends who your other 3 defenders are, Ben, because if you've already got a really decent 3 there, you might not need to. But if you're having to start Lewis Hall, Hall to Howson's a great transfer, yeah. Paolo says, got Wood and Isak, Gakpo to Wissa over Watkins. If you can afford Gakpo to Watkins, I'd prefer Watkins, but otherwise Wissa's fine, yeah. Wissa's going a little bit under the radar because he blanked last week. But last week everyone wanted Wissa, so nothing much has changed, really. Tony says, thoughts on Emery, assistant manager this week versus playing it in 31 to 33. If you've not activated the assistant manager chip this week and your options are playing it on Emery or waiting until 31 to 33, I would probably wait. Would probably have to wildcard 30, which is risky. Yeah, and we might not know the doubles. So I was actually discussing this with Harry before the stream started, but we probably won't know the doubles in 30. We'll have a better idea, but we won't know the exact doubles in 33, probably by 30. The other option you've got is if we don't, you could actually assistant manager 30, 31, 32 and wildcard in 33. It obviously means you can't bench boost, or you might not need the wildcard. You might be able to just deal with it with free transfers. I probably would keep it though, because worst case scenario is, like you say, you bench boost in the suboptimal week, or you just end up assistant managering in 3 single game weeks, which isn't, again, the end of the world. If you have to play assistant manager in 36, 37, 38, and there are no doubles in 36, it's still a strong way to end the season, you know? So I think if it's Emery or wait, I would wait. Obviously, if you've already activated it, Emery's fine. Gakpo, Watkins, and Clive at -8. Yeah, got no issue with that as transfers. I think overall that improves the strength of your team. After today's news, wildcard 35 is probably not the way whatsoever. I wouldn't say whatsoever. It doesn't like fully rule out wildcard 35 for me, but it definitely strengthens a wildcard in 30, 31, or 32. That little period there, if you're wondering when you should wildcard, it's team dependent, but 30, 31, 32, that little period, setting up for a bench boost in 33, and also setting up for the double that has been announced in Game Week 32, that feels pretty strong. Sorry, chat, 1 second. Sorry, chat. Pickle's trying to get an Uber and it's like a 15-minute pickup. So I said I'll pay for the Uber, and I said try and get one of the faster ones or the premium ones. I just said, pay as much as you want for the Uber and I'll buy it. She's a student, so she doesn't want to spend money on a more expensive Uber, but I was like, I'll pay for the Uber. Right, anyway, back we are. What's the deadline? 20 minutes or just over 90 minutes till the deadline. By the way, that deadline counter to the seconds is going to be off for you because the stream is slightly delayed. So whatever you can see as the number, it might be slightly out. So I don't know how to combat that, but for me, it's bang on. Yeah, I've got 0.2 million in the bank and 2 free transfers. Sorry, chat. Sorry. Would you bench Gakpo for Rao? Yes, just about. Just about. Whoa, whoa, whoa. My stream just had a fit there. Whoa, calm down, stream. Why is it freezing like that? Want to assistant manager, 0.2 in the bank, 1 free transfer. Trent to Van Dijk and then get Emery. Is that the best? Concert to Dizassi. That won't give you enough vibe, will it? Yeah, probably is Trent to Van Dijk, Chris. Trent to Van Dijk's probably your best downgrade route there. You've also got Ahmad to Wanyeri. Ahmad to Wanyeri is not an awful option. Have 3 Liverpool, sell Gakpo to Wood and get Slot or Emery. I don't like Gakpo to Wood. I prefer Gakpo to Wissa for the long-term sort of play. I think I'll do Gakpo to Wissa and get Slot. But I think Emery is fine. And again, if Villa get any result against Liverpool, then Emery was the one. Also, Liverpool can drop points against Wolves. We're talking about Wolves like it's a given, but it's not. So Jake says Gakpo Gordon to Watkins Trossard or Delap Gordon to Watkins Wanyeri. Oh, I like Watkins and Trossard for Gakpo and Gordon. That's a great set of moves. Russell Baker says 3 Paul, 2 Newcastle, 2 Palace, Rodgers. Sell Hall or Castagna to Howson. Losing Castagna probably locks in Gameweek 29. Play Gakpo and Burmo. Well, I'll play in Burmo over Gakpo. I think I'd rather sell Lewis Hall than Castagna, to be honest. Although, maybe what you should do, mate, Russell, is because you're already in a position where Gameweek 29 doesn't look good, maybe you should lock in the free hit. Maybe what you should do in your position is sell Castagna instead. Do you know what? Maybe I'll do that, and then you can keep Lewis Hall. Do you know what? I will say without really knowing what you want to do, but maybe just lock in 29, and sell Castagna. Maybe that's best. Trina says, just realised I have both Gakpo and Watkins, but got to sacrifice Wood or Isak. Is this worth it? No, I would just sell Gakpo instead. I don't think it's worth keeping Gakpo for me. Khan, Gabriel, Trent, Robinson, Rodgers, Salah, Cliver. Okay, you give me your team, Khan. Gakpo to Watkins for a -4. Triple captain Salah. Or should I save the -4 and do AM for assistant manager Emery slot? I think I prefer triple captain Salah to assistant manager. If you've got the triple captain, you triple captain this week. I think it's your best remaining opportunity. Benjamin has become a Rap Tier 2 member. Thank you very much. I'm not going to try and pronounce your surname, Benjamin, but thank you very much. What's the best chip strategy with no triple captain or assistant manager? I think, without seeing your team, just the general chip strategy, but again, it very much is team dependent. It's wildcard in 31 or 32, bench boost 33, and then free hit 34. So I think as of right now, my plan is wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. So you're playing a chip in 3 consecutive weeks. One more from me. Thank you very much, MN Chuckster. Says, I probably missed it, but is Gordon a doubt for City? He is a doubt, but Eddie Howe said he should be fine. It's how much you trust Eddie Howe. I prefer to start him over Sarr, but only if he starts. I think with Anthony Gordon, considering the nature of the game as well, I don't know this, but I would imagine that he either starts or he's not in the squad. I don't think they'd bring Gordon on the bench personally. So I think if you want to start Gordon, then start him. I'm just guessing though at this stage, right? Daniel says, hi Ross, no questions from me this week. Okay. Did Moyes to Emery and Sarr to Dango? Very nice. Yeah, I'm really jealous. I really want a Bournemouth mid, to be honest. Just wanted to thank you for your advice and great content every week. Hope you and Pickle have a great Valentine's weekend. Thank you so much. Imagine being that kind just to drop a super chat to say thank you. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Oh dear. Pickle can't get an Uber, so she's going to miss her train. Every Uber's cancelled on her. So I'm not going to see Pickle for a little while now. That's very sad. Oh my god, my computer just function as a computer. You are absolutely useless. I'm talking to my computer, by the way. Doesn't want to function. Would you take a -4 for Cliver and Semenyo? I need to see the rest of the team. I need to know who you're selling. But yeah, Cliver and Semenyo feels great. I'd love to have 2 Bournemouth midfielders. I would love to, but I don't even have 1. Do you not have the funds to go Enzo to Ouattara? No. I've got 0.2 in the bank, and I would need 0.3 in the bank. But at the same time, if I bought Ouattara, I'd have to bench Chris Wood. And as much as I don't necessarily expect Chris Wood to do anything, it feels an unnecessary thing to do. We have got a very generous super chat from Benjamin. Thank you very much, Benjamin. It's very generous of you. I'll read it when my computer stops being a bastard. Happy Valentine's. Happy Valentine's to you. I've got Raya, Trent, Gabrielle, Aina, Rogers, Ahmad, Salah, Mbermo, Murphy, Wood, Isaac. My bench is Valdemars and Barco, Hall, Javson. Oh, Jackson. I was like, who's Javskin? I'm thinking 3-5-2 with Slot as my chip. Trust me, even folks around here can't get my name right. I'm not even going to try, Benjamin, but thank you for the generosity. In terms of what would I do, I'm very jealous of people that have double Arsenal defence this week. It's a great... I mean, mate, that's a great team. Murphy's not ideal, but at the same time, we probably expect them to get goals against Man City. I think the team looks good. Is there a question here, or is it just show me your team? I think it looks really nice. Yeah, I think Slot as the assistant manager, if you've got the availability to do so, go for it. Very nice team, mate. And thank you for the generosity as well. By the way, yeah, Barco is a throwback. The fact you've still got Barco in the team. Assistant manager Slot now, or wait for 32 for Howe. If you've got an easy route to Slot, I like that. Otherwise, I do think 32 for Howe or Glasner could be really nice. Need to bench Munoz or Wood? What would you do? I'd bench Munoz and start Chris Wood. I don't think I could bench a penalty taken forward that's like third for goals this season in the Prem for a defender from Crystal Palace, personally. Isaac to Gakpo, Gordon to Mbermo, Enzo to Clivert, Sanchez to Martinez. Any thoughts? Yeah, overall, I think that's a lovely set of transfers. I still probably prefer Kepa to Martinez if you're going to buy a keeper. I think Kepa will serve you better long term, but yeah, overall, it's a nice set of transfers. You've got 10 minutes until the deadline, by the way. 10 minutes. Gakpo to Diaz for free. Gakpo to Diaz for free. Thoughts, have Slot and Salah. Well, I don't know how you're doing it, though, because Diaz is a midfielder, right? So what forward, what midfielder, who are you selling? But yes. Anna says, Isaac to Watkins now that we know he's playing. We know that he's in the squad, yeah. -4, also better fixtures for before the blank in 29. The fixtures are marginally better. I don't think they're actually that much better for Watkins. Listen, if you've got a good feeling about Watkins, go for it. Isaac to Watkins for free feels okay. For a hit, I'm just not sure I like it. And also, you're going to definitely want Isaac back in Game Week 30. So you're booking in either a wild card or you're going to have to buy Isaac back. Ahmad to Dango for free. Yeah, for free, I don't hate that. Would you do Moyes and Gakpo to Darwin and Emery for a -4? I don't know if I'd do Darwin. No, I wouldn't buy Darwin. I think well, if you want to, by all means, but I would probably go for Wissa. Or Cunha if you want to go longer term. Or Mateta if you can deal with blank Game Week 29. Derek, hi Ross, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. And nice whoop. It is a whoop. I can show you my heart rate in a second. Enzo to Dango for a free hit. Sorry, Enzo to Dango for a free transfer and bench Whistle or roll. Enzo to Dango for a free transfer and bench Whistle or roll. I'd probably just start Wissa, mate. Yeah, I'd probably just start Wissa. I do like the idea of getting Dango in for Enzo, but to bench Wissa probably feels unnecessary. He's a decent option this week. Like, people that are benching him won't want to be benching him, really. Gordon to Kluivert / Semenyo or Ouattara, 5 free transfers. I've already made Concert to House and want to only make 2 transfers. Yeah, I would probably go for any of the 3 are fine. Kluivert's, like I said, the one on penalties and the safest option. So objectively, Kluivert's probably the one I should recommend. Sorry, meant Gakpo to Darwin, Charles said. Oh, Gakpo to Darwin for free. I don't love it still. Darwin's just not it really for me. And you can't even confirm that he starts both. Why Munoz over Robinson? Because I've got Chris Wood. What was I doing? I was going to show you my heart rate. There you go. Look at that. I'll tell you what. Live streaming to 4,000 people. Mid-70s heart rate. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. Hi, Ross. Robinson or Aina? I'd probably start Robinson. Why not wildcard 30? Could wildcard 30. I just think if you look at your building a team for 29, for the blank, the team actually doesn't look that bad in Game Week 30. So I think a lot of people can get away with not wildcarding. And also, the closer to the bench boost that you wildcard, the better. Let's say I wildcard in 30 and start picking up loads of injuries, then my bench boost might not look as good in 33. So I think we'll assess it closer to the time. But I've definitely penciled in a wildcard for 30, 31 or 32. That little spell there. Which Bournemouth mid to go for? I like Dango out of position as the 9. Very exciting. But Cliver objectively is probably the best option on penalties and set pieces. But then Semenyo's minutes and data are both very good. So, I mean, it's up to you. I really wish I had a Bournemouth midfielder. I do, but there's just no way for me to do it easily. And transfers are very... They're very precious for me at the moment right now. Start Wood or Semenyo? I think you've got to start Semenyo. Got to start Semenyo for me. Frischy says, hello, hello. Just sending love on this beautiful, beautiful day. Happy Valentine's Day to you and Pickle. Dango and Clive at start and bench Palmer. Benching Palmer's a bold move. It's the early kickoff as well, so that could ruin your week before it even begins. But happy Valentine's Day, and I like the Dango and Clive picks. Hi, Rush. You've said to bench Chris Wood a lot. What is your reasoning behind benching him over other options? I rate Fulham, even though they've not been great at Craven Cottage this season. But I think Fulham are very decent. And if I perceive the way that I think that Fulham versus Forest game goes, I think it's a low scoring affair. Like you can see here, I've put 0-0. It probably won't be 0-0, but that's me emphasising that I just don't see that many goals in the game. That you're basically what you've got with Forest and Fulham is you've got two teams that are in the bottom half of the table for expected goals, and you've got two teams that are in the top half of the table for non-penalty expected goals conceded. So they are a really good pair of defences, but not so good at scoring goals overall. And I know Nottingham Forest just scored 7, but you get the point. You get the gist. Alexis says, hi Ross, my team. Okay. No free hit 29. What are your thoughts? No free hit. So at the moment, you've got Trent blanking, you've got Salah blanking, Rodgers, Isak, Mateta. So you've got 5 players blanking. Yeah, you're in a good position. Assistant manager active. Yeah, mate, it's a really nice team, actually. Really like it. I think you're in a strong position. You probably don't need to free hit as things stand. You've got some really good bench cover with Castagna, Mikalenko, Ahmad. Yeah, it's like a 9 out of 10, mate. I think you're in a good position. You're definitely slightly better set up for 29 than I am. Would you sell Ahmad for Rodgers? If it was for free, yeah. Dave says, just found out about the deadline 25 minutes ago. Good thing I don't need transfers this week. Yeah, good thing. Although at least you got a bit of time, you know? It's better than finding out after the deadline. Do you get your assistant manager funds back once the chip expires? Yes. So once the chip expires, if I'd left it on slot, I would get 1.5 million back. Which is good, right? It's not you're not like just losing. If you were losing the money, it'd be a terrible chip. Yeah, you get the money back. Would you sell Moyes for Emery for a -4? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't keep Moyes. Because even if Moyes gets the win, he doesn't get the table bonus. So it's not going to be a big score that you get from Moyes. I'd definitely go after Emery or Slot. And I think if you're going to go for a single game week manager, I think it's Potter or it's Marco Silva. Because they both get the table bonus. Or, as a few people have said, go for Hertzler. They just beat Chelsea in the Cup. They could do it again. Hi, Ross. Would you start Howson or Gabriel? Gabriel. Gakpo in or out? I would lean out, but it really depends on who can you bring in, what's your bench situation like, what are your future plans. There are so many things, but I would lean towards Gakpo out more than Gakpo in. Cool, you've only got a few minutes until the deadline now. Only a few minutes. No chance that Spurs versus United is ending 1-1. It's probably going to be like 6-6. No, I just think the Man United have defended a little bit better recently, and they're still pretty rubbish in the attack. And Spurs just aren't firing at the moment. So I just thought 1-1, be a bit of a damp squib of a game. Oh, my back. Hall to Timber or start Castagna? I'd probably start Castagna, but I don't mind Hall to Timber. Double Arsenal defence for Leicester feels pretty good. Is it worth using the assistant manager chip this week? It's fine to use it, but I equally think it's fine to keep it now that we've got a possible double-double in 32-33. Apparently United have 2 bad injuries. I heard that, but I don't know who they are. But yeah, I did hear that. It's not ideal. If they're like squad players, it's still not going to help us, but then it obviously affects us less. But Yeah, they're keeping it fairly quiet by the looks of it. Best striker for 8.8 million. I mean, outright, it's probably Mateta, but then you don't have him in 29, so you need to consider that, right? If Watkins was 8.8, then... Oh, wait, Watkins is 8.9, isn't he? Yeah. So you just don't quite have enough for Watkins. Do I bench Mateta or Gakpo? That's an easy one. You bench Gakpo. Wouldn't bench Mateta. Would you start Isak over in Burmo? Yes, I would. I would start Isak. Alanga or in Burmo? I would start in Burmo, absolutely. You got just under 2 minutes until the deadline. By the time you hear my voice, it's probably even less than that. So I would just get your teams locked in. In fact, I'm just going to double check my team is locked in because I've not really been looking at it. Bench Munoz or Kirkes? It's a tough one, but I would start Kirkes and bench Munoz. Or would I? I'd be very tempted to start Munoz, but no, I think the fixture. Maybe I said to people I'd start Munoz over Howson, so maybe I'd start Howson then because he's got as much attacking threat as Kirkes. Right, I've not really thought about the benching decision. I hope I don't end up regretting having Enzo first sub and Robinson second. I probably will, to be honest. Start Saliba or Munoz? Probably Munoz because Saliba's not got the attacking threat. Bednarek is going to be the hero again, isn't it? I would love if Bednarek gets another goal. Gakpo or Darwin? Well, you wouldn't buy a Gakpo. You probably wouldn't buy a Darwin, but Darwin's probably more likely to get minutes in the first game. What changes have you made? I've not made any changes. I've just left the team as is. So I'll have 3 free transfers next week, basically. Wood or Mateta, bro? Mateta, I would start ahead of Wood. Colwell or Robinson? It's a tough one, but I would just lean Robinson for the attacking threat. Start Mikalenko or Robinson? I'd go Robinson for the home fixture. Please, God, let Chris Wood blank. I think he will this week. That's my prediction. If he doesn't, then he's just a machine. If that man keeps scoring at that rate. Right, the deadline's going to be hitting very, very soon. By the time you hear my voice, it might have already hit. Get those teams locked in. I'm going to stop answering questions because that is it. What happens when this deadline's done? Does it just say 0? I've never used this timer before. There we go. Deadline's there. That was quite useful for me as well, to be honest. I'll now ask Pickle how she's getting on. How are you getting on? Any chance of making the train? I don't think there's much chance, to be honest. I'm having a look now. I need to tweet my team as well, so I'll do that in a second. Right, let me tweet my team. Tweet my team. Right. I'm going to airdrop it to myself because I've deleted Twitter on my phone. Right, let me bring you over here. So what I want to do is get you. Whoa. What? What is happening here? Hello? Hello? There we go. Goodness me, my computer is really struggling today. It's like, nah, not a fact. What is this? I don't want to study Bitcoin. Get off me, ads. Go on to following. I don't know if you get less ads on. This is what I'm dealing with. I can't even begin to tell you how much this is lagging like crazy. Right. Game week 25. Then we want the lock symbol, don't we? We want a lock. No, that's not. That's a clock. That's not a lock. That's a clock. That's a tongue twister that you don't want to get wrong. Am I right, chat, or am I right? Game week 25. What did I do? Oh, rolled the transfer. 3 free transfers next week. Do I even need to? I don't even need to say Salah cap, do I? I'll just put 96k Do like nice little emojis. Good luck, everyone. Little heart. I'll copy that because I need to post it on Blue Sky now as well for all of the peeps over there, you know. Post. Right, now we go on to Blue Sky. Sorry, chat, I'm just tweeting my team. And then once the team's tweeted, then we can relax. Honestly, I can't even begin to tell you how much this computer just doesn't want to cooperate. Are we done? Are we good? That's tweeted. Nice. Oh my goodness. All right. And relax. How are we doing, chat? Thanks for using Blue Sky. I don't really use it enough, to be honest. I mainly use it to post my team and then, like, say when a video goes live, but I'm trying to use it a bit more. I deleted Twitter on my phone, actually, because it's such a cesspit of an app. I don't have Twitter, I don't have Instagram, and I don't have TikTok on my phone. It's beautiful. There's no social media apart from Blue Sky, and I don't really spend much time on Blue Sky anyway. I just find myself scrolling, and I find myself getting annoyed, and people annoy me. So I just deleted all social media on my phone. It's just a bit. And like, I don't want to spend all my time scrolling through Instagram and TikTok. You know, I'm too busy. I've got so much going on to be just sat there scrolling, and I can't help myself. So is Blue Sky good for footy and FPL news? No, that's why it's not good, mate. No reputable journalists are really tweeting very often. So all you see on Blue Sky is people taking screenshots from Twitter and then posting it there. Like, so today, for example, let me use today as an example. I haven't been able to be on my laptop all day because I've been lecturing. So I don't always have my laptop in front of me. And I don't have Twitter on my phone. So I wanted to check what the press conference news was. And so I opened Blue Sky and I scrolled on Blue Sky for like 8 minutes and didn't find a single piece of injury or press conference news. And then you open Twitter and just right at the top of your timeline, I just feel like Twitter is as much as I don't like the bots and all of the silly stuff and the ads and the stuff, it's a better coded site for now that you just get what you want to see a little bit quicker. And also there are just more people on Twitter, right? The other day, this is a bit of a first world problem, but I posted on Blue Sky the other day and I didn't get a single like or comment for like 15 minutes. Like, I just don't get that on Twitter. And I'm very lucky that I don't get that on Twitter, but it's just like, my head looks small. Why does my head look small for once? My head's normally massive. I think, just look like this little like egg. Blue Sky only works because it's tiny. And that's the thing. If Blue Sky starts growing, right? Well, surely it will just end up like Twitter at some point. But yeah. I actually need a wee a little bit, chat. So what I'm going to do is go for a wee, if you're okay with that. I'll be back in a second, though. Then we'll look at the lineups when they come out. We'll see if João Pedro's starting or not. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to go for a little wee. And I'll be back in approximately 1 minute. So you can look at my Batman chair and discuss things amongst yourselves. Hello, chat. I'm back. Sorry, I'm just sorting out this train situation with FPL Pickle, who has indeed, or is almost definitely going to miss her train. 2 good trains straight after. Your... Right. Don't forget to wipe. Don't need to wipe, really. There's only a little wee. Long poo after a relaxing pee. What is this? I couldn't fire out a poo that quickly if I tried. Dear Lord. Put an add-on. Yeah, I should have put an add-on, shouldn't I? That would have been fun. How long is the train journey? From Birmingham to Nottingham, it's like an hour 15. I've just looked, actually, and luckily there are more trains, so... so it's not the end of the world. Got a super chat from me here. It says, "Hi Ross, in the last 2 weeks I had heart surgery, got dumped, and had my birthday. Much love for all the help you have unknowingly provided. Cheers and wish you a great weekend. Keep being you." Can we get some love and some hearts and some kind words from me here in the chat? You've had heart surgery, got dumped, and had your birthday. Oh, for some reason I want to know the order of these events, but I feel like that's not the key thing here. Well, firstly, I'm glad that you had heart surgery and you're still here, because that sounds like a very scary operation. I hope you're healthy now. Whoever dumped you, their loss. Can tell already that you're a nice person. And I hope you had a good birthday as well. I'm very sorry about 2 of those 3 things. I'm not sorry about the birthday. I'm glad you had a birthday. That's what happens once a year. But yeah, I'm sorry, mate, that you've been going through that. That's tough. That is really tough. I had my heart broken once upon a time as well. Before FPL Pickle, I was in a relationship for almost 6 years. And she broke my heart. It happens. Lots of people get their heart broken. And I tell you what, there's no advice that I can give. No advice helps. Not a single person said one thing that made me feel better. So I'm not going to. I guess all I will say is that with time, it does get better. Like, it's very difficult in that moment to know that it will get better, but it gets so much better. And honestly, look at me now. I got a beautiful girlfriend that plays FPL, and you will also move on and upgrade as well, I'm sure. Who is scoring the 4 Bournemouth goals, Ross? 4 own goals from Bednarek. No, it's probably... I reckon they're all involved. I would be surprised if any of the 3 midfielders blank. Hopefully not Kirkes and Howson getting involved as well. That'd be a killer. Thanks for all you do for us. Thank you for all you do for me. All of you got... Like, you... I'll be honest. You guys do a lot more for me than I do for you. You guys do so much more for me than I do for you. I just sit here and chat FPL. You're the guys that make this possible to do for a job. Discover with Sim says, tip is main takeaway is FPL and Indian takeaways if you were... I want an Indian takeaway tonight. So bad. So bad. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get one with Pickle whenever she arrives. I'm checking. Oh, her train's in 5 minutes and she's still in the Uber, but she's so close. She's going to miss this train. She's going to miss this train by like 2 minutes, I think. I'll keep you updated. Is it? Wait, let me see if there's any delay in the train or something. Oh, the train's 2 minutes later than I thought. She's got 7 minutes to make now 6 minutes to make the train, and she's close. I tell you what, that's going to be like, you know, like the doors are going to be closing as she's running towards that. Wow. Best of luck to her. Tell her to run for it. I've messaged her like 7 times and she's not replied at all. So sorry about the bloody lagging, by the way. That's my nutting. Haley, that's my sister, by the way. FPL Haley in the chat. She said, we are having Chinese. I've not had a Chinese in months. I'll be honest. I do like a Chinese, but Indian food is just unbelievable. Especially if I had that Indian, Haley. The Indian by my sister's is so good. I could eat Indian food 4, 5, 6 days a week. And then one day a week I'd want a roast dinner. But I do love a curry. And the thing is, for me, I like about 15 to 20 different curries as well. Like, I'm not very, like, I could change it up depending on what I fancy. Make sure she doesn't stop to get coffee before grabbing the train. That would be pretty funny, wouldn't it? Just stop off for a coffee. I've only got a few minutes, but... Ross, can I be your Indian takeaway? You absolutely can, Mahir. You can be my Indian takeaway. For sure. What's the meat of choice on a roast? You don't want to know, Brad. I'll get judged so hard. Do you know what? I'll tell you. It's chicken for me. I'm very, very plain person like that. But no, on a roast, I'm not a massive lamb person. Beef is fine on like occasionally. Pork's fine occasionally, but I'm not a massive fan. I like little pigs in blankets, like sausages wrapped in bacon, but that's more of a Christmas thing, isn't it? I'm a chicken. Turkey's just a dead chicken for me. Not a dead chicken, as in, well, chickens would be dead as well. You get what I mean. Turkey's just a slightly less nice version of chicken. So I'm not a massive turkey person. Our Indian takeaway is the best. Need you and Pickle to come and have one. Oh, I'd love that. My mum ate dinner. I'm glad. My mum's been very unwell. My mother has been very, very ill, bless her. So sending love to Mama Raptor. I'm glad you've managed to eat. No love for Arabic food. I'll be honest, mate. I don't eat a lot of Arabic food, but not out of necessarily like because I don't like it. It's just like not necessarily readily available. It probably is. I just don't really know any great places to get, and I wouldn't trust myself to cook it. What's your Indian order? My favourite Indian dish is a madras, but I also do have a love-in for a Rogan Josh. Chicken Rogan Josh. So my 2 top would be a madras or a Rogan Josh. In terms of outside of that, I love tikka and tandoori. So, like, this is going to sound gross to a lot of people, but... Oh, João Pedro benched. Oh, dear. Let's quickly look at that. Like, salmon tikka or salmon tandoori is actually really nice. But João Frazy's good. But, yeah, for me, it's madras and Rogan Josh are my 2 go-tos. It depends what... Like, certain restaurants do certain ones better than others, right? I wonder what João Pedro has done to pee off Hurts a lot. Because he was literally like, João Pedro's our best player. He's the game changer. Oh, dear. God, João Pedro stinks. Does anyone still have João Pedro in their starting 11? I don't know. What am I doing here? Chelsea. Is it Nkunku as the 9? It is Nkunku as the 9. See, this is what I mean. Everyone was like, no, Nkunku's not going to play as the 9. Nkunku is the 9. I don't know if he'll stay there permanently, but Gusto, Chalobah, Colwill, Kukurea, Jorgensen. Decent. What's the Chelsea fans saying? Nothing big. Okay. So that's it, really. Just João Pedro is the major news, I guess. And then Nkunku does start. You've made me and Luke doubt the Chinese, and now we want Indian. No, get the Chinese if that was your plan. I just love Indian food, man. And your Indian is so good. Also, just think about, you could just order way too many poppadoms and then just eat poppadoms all evening. That's what I do when we have an Indian. Oh, I'm so hungry. If Pickle misses this train as well, which she's probably going to... Sorry. If she misses her train, which she's probably going to, it's going to be even later to eat. I'm so hungry as well. Should I get some food? This is the real question we need to ask ourselves. Oh, she's got 2 minutes till her train. Yeah, I don't think she's going to make it. Luckily, there's some backup trains. Have some cereal, Ross. I actually thought about that. Got these next to me. Could absolutely batter some of those. Don't think you want me... The naan bread is the best bit. Andrew, you are a man after my heart. Favourite Indian starter? In all honesty, I'd have some chicken tikka normally, but I don't really get starters. I'd get loads of mains. Like Bombay Aloo sometimes will cast as a starter, but I'd have that as a side. I would just have it all together. Salmon tikka is a really good starter. No pakora. It's fine. It's not my favourite. I'm gonna upset people. I'm gonna upset people that pakora. Onion bhajis isn't a starter. It's a side. I wouldn't just sit there and eat onion bhajis. I want them with my curry. Butter chicken is goated. I like spicy curry. I'm more of a spicy curry kind of guy. This is why I don't love Rogan Josh. If I do get a Rogan Josh, I'll often ask them to make it a little bit spicier. I'm sort of worried about FPL Pickle. Why is she not replying? Anything chicken is life. I'm very much a chicken guy. You should be having chicken lollipops. I've seen chicken lollipops in loads. What is a chicken lollipop? I've seen it in loads of Indian places, but I've never actually had a chicken lollipop. Korma is the best. Korma sucks. Sorry. Korma is not good. Korma is the worst dish on an Indian menu. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. I'm just straight up saying it. This is making me hungry. What? Did she make the train? I'm assuming not, because she's not replied and her train left a minute ago. But I'm wondering why she's not replied. Yeah, the train's left. So unless she is on it and she's just not told me, I'd say she's missed it. Like a chicken nugget on a stick. Oh. If korma was hot, it would be decent. Yeah, but if you put spice in that sort of curry, it would be wrong, wouldn't it? Have you ever tried jollof rice? Yes, but probably not very good jollof rice. It was good, but like I can imagine that if it was made better, it would be nicer. Green curry is basically what korma wants to be. It's just not my... I'm more of like a red sauce kind of guy, rather than like a green curry or a korma. Like a... What's your... Oh, I'm so hungry. I'm literally salivating. Maybe she's decided not to see you. Wouldn't be surprised. Have you ever had prawn boona, Ross? I've never had a prawn curry at all, actually, to be honest. Like a Pavlov dog. I like that reference, Timothy. Not many people will get the Pavlov reference, but I love it. Ross gets hungry at the end of every stream. I tell you what, it's tiring. Burn a lot of calories. You've gained some weight. Maybe have a salad. I've actually lost weight. I've lost quite a bit of weight. I lost quite a bit of fat. But yeah, to be fair, I could probably do with having a salad. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Ross gets hangry a lot. I do get very hangry. I'll be real. When I'm hungry, I get fuming. Favorite style of pizza? Thin, crispy. Thin, crispy Italian pizza with some spicy meat on it. Pepperoni. Anything. Salami. Give me some spicy meat and a thin, crispy pizza. You know? Man just called you a fat egg. It's quite funny. I've given up caring what people think about me, honestly. It makes you pretty thick-skinned being a content creator online. Yes, João Pedro benched. For those that are just joining, we don't really talk much FPL around it post deadline, but João Pedro has been benched for sure. That is very sad for Pedro owners. Folded pizza stuffed with meatballs and chili. A calzone. Italian food is the second best food for me after Indian, and the third best food is Greek. For me, it would go Indian, Italian, Greek. If I was like to go for my 3 favorite cuisines, that would be it. Even if you were a fat egg, we would still love you, Rossi boy. Thank you. I appreciate it. If you're a betting man, who do you think scores today? I will say Parma and... I'm just going to look at the Brighton lineup again. See what tickles my pickle. I'm going to say Welbeck and Palmer. Yeah, and I'm starving as well. I'm going to head off in a second and see what's happening with FPL Pickle. Because it's crazy. I think she's still in the Uber. Yeah, she's still in the Uber, I think. Which means she definitely missed that first train. Hopefully she can make the second train, which is in like 14 minutes now. The traffic in Birmingham, if anyone lives in Birmingham around New Street, the traffic around New Street is disgusting. It's awful. I've never seen... It's worse traffic than London. Ross is thick-skinned both metaphorically and physically. Demetrius is going after me on Valentine's Day. I love it. At least she didn't miss it by a minute. Yeah, this is true, Leaky Boy, isn't it? This is true. Favorite pasta? What, favorite pasta dish or favorite pasta shape? Favorite pasta dish would be amatriciana. A beautiful dish. It's like spicy, tomato based, little bits of pork. I don't know what they'd be called, but or really basic stuff, but an arrabbiata is wonderful, just spicy tomato. Or I mean lasagna and bolognese you can't beat, but yeah, I'd go amatriciana or an arrabbiata. They're both really nice. I tell you what, an amatriciana is nice in Italy. It's not as nice in the UK. I've had it a couple of times in the UK and it's not been as good. Is 1FF starting up again or is it done? It's not done. I'm really sad about that actually, Will. But they're basically wanting to build an app and there's loads of changes they want to make. Like they want to incorporate the ability to talk to the players and yeah, use a mobile application and loads of other stuff. And apparently it's going to take like 6 to 7 months to develop. So I think it's like back end of 2025, it will go back up again. I will be involved in it. They've got to do so much on the back end, sadly. Or you know what I hate, right? This is a very privileged thing to complain about. But I hate when dinner's in that awkward thing, right? So dinner's not coming for me anytime soon. I'm not going to eat until 8:30 at the earliest. But that's only an hour and a half away. And I know full well if I go and have a bowl of cereal now, it's going to slightly spoil my dinner. So do I sit here, hangry and starving? Or do I go and have a little bit of food? But then maybe ruin my dinner. So, right. I think I'm going to call it there. I'll update you on the FPL Pickle situation. Hopefully she'll be with me in a couple of hours. But thank you all for being here. Hope you have a wonderful Valentine's. If you've got a Valentine, I hope you enjoy spending it with them. If not, enjoy being single. There are lots of benefits to it. And I'm sure next Valentine there will be someone there for you. But yeah, thank you for being here. I will see you on Sunday for a transfer plans video, and then next week for a deadline stream. Thank you very much, guys. I love you all very much, and I will catch you soon.